welcome to round 2. Grandmaster Danny Gormally. Hi, Danny.
Oh, hello, Natasha. Yeah, looking forward to this.
Yeah, so quite an exciting tournament, isn't it? You can see it on the screen now, and you can already, just from this view, you can see. Oh, it's moving around. We're getting a view of the room, and you can see just what a mixture of people we got, like all sorts of different ages. We had a very young boy we just saw at the start, and then we've got, I can see Peter Sowry standing up there, and Amit Ghazi playing his game.
That's right. Shabir, as a friend of Mark Hebden's. I think Mark.
Chris Hibbs. Is he?
I can't see him in this picture, but
but he's around, and lots of big names. So I'm going to let's look at the chess as well, Danny, shall we?
Yeah, good idea. Yeah,
good idea. Okay, so why don't we start with Tivy against Rich Pert? That looks like a good place to start. So, I'll turn the engine off, shall I, for us, and then we can turn it back on if we feel like
it. Good idea, yeah.
Yes. So, we've got Tivy's white, and is offering some kind of, they could exchange bishops, I guess, at some point soon.
Yeah, I mean, this is a variation that they play a lot now, Natasha. I don't know if you have you encountered this yourself, but they play this knight f6 line. Almost everybody plays this line. It's become very, very difficult to. If you play e1, e4, you need to know what to do against this, because otherwise.
It's very solid, isn't it? Really solid.
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, David Howe was one of the people that popularized this line. He was one of the people that really kind of perfected this opening. But it seems to me that white could. Is it white's move or black?
It's white's move. Black's just played rook into the center, rook to d8.
Yeah, I mean, I think Richard will be pretty happy about the outcome of this opening. Tiviakov, actually, funny enough, he's not a guy that you see much, or he doesn't seem to play as much as he used to.
Yeah, is he still living in Holland? Do you know? Because he was.
I believe so, but I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen the guy for years. I played him in the Isle of Man years ago, and he beat me.
Hi, Gigantabear. How are you doing? He beat you in Isle of Man. Yeah.
A nice game, actually. It was a very accurate game, but I was playing pretty well at the time. And but obviously, he's a very experienced player. He's been over 2,700.
Yeah, he was one of the people, you know, that Chess for Life, where we interviewed people, experienced chess players.
Really.
And he played this. It was like a Scandinavian, but with Queen D6 was his one, and he played all these different variations of that when he was black.
Yeah, I mean, also he was an expert in the C3 Sicilian, but I think I did read some of that, but I read a bit on Tony Miles, which was interesting.
Oh yes.
And there was also obviously a bit with Keith. I should really buy that book. Yeah, I've been trying to buy some more chess books recently, but because I lost all that. You know, for years I never read any chess books, and I started to realize recently it's a good idea to read as many. You know, I wrote chess books, but I never read them.
I've read your one about being a pro, a year in the life of a pro, or something like. You were telling me.
I've got a new chess book out.
That. It was entertaining. Go on.
Yeah, maybe.
Go on.
Let me get a copy.
Okay.
It's called. Right, here we go. Here's a copy of it. It's called. Since I'm not at Cambridge, so I can't win any prize money here. I need the book sales. So Tournament Battle Plan.
Right.
Not a terribly original title, but it's quite interesting. I basically talk about some of the things you need to do to be like a chess professional, like, you know, the cost of hotels and the cost of obviously transport and the diet you need to follow. Obviously, I'm looking like a sort of like Greek god these days, so obviously I'm rigorous.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to laugh then.
But yeah, it's an interesting book. I think it's quite a well written book, even if I say so myself. But yeah, I mean, I would have liked to play this tournament, obviously, Natasha. But the problem was the amount of invites were limited. Obviously,
Well, it's a limited space because, but it's a lovely venue. I visited last year and did the commentary. I'm going to go along later in the week and do some commentary from the venue. And the idea is hopefully that some people will come after their games and show off their games.
yeah, I think Michael Adams is obviously the favourite because he seems to be winning everything now. But he did draw in round one, so that's. But then he drew in round one last year, and then he racked up something like 8 out of 9, which is an incredible score. But
Yeah. I was going to say, like, because the Swiss Gambit in this tournament, like just drawing the first round and then trying to win all the rest.
It doesn't really affect you, does it?
This year it's really tough because like loads of strong players have drawn in the first round. So
no, but you will get slightly easier pairings in theory. But having said that, yeah, it's tough because, to be honest, you need to. I mean, I've mentioned this before that all my good tournaments that I can remember, I've tended to start well. Now, there's two things that either happen: either I start well and I keep it going because I got the momentum, I got the confidence to start getting on a roll. For example, the first GM norm I start with 5 out of 5. And round 5 I beat Chennai, nice game, long end game. I use that momentum to go on, and I got a GM norm and I won the tournament. But the tournaments were started badly. It's very rare that you recover. You know, if you have an early loss, like Amit Gartzi lost in round 1, so he'll start to doubt himself now. So, well, is my approach correct? You know, am I doing the right things? Why am I blundering? He might start to doubt himself. People who start well, they get on a roll. You're only talking about 9 rounds after all, aren't you? You only talk about 9 rounds, so it's not that many rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think of this game? So because
it's very hard for white to actually prove anything here. I mean, I just feel that black is clearly equalised already and very comfortable game. But having said that, obviously Tiviakov is a stronger player. He's very experienced.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what the next move is for white. Like, I mean, what do you play? Like, how do you improve your position? Knight h4 is knight h4 a move actually.
Shall we try it? I'll just play it. We know what I've played and so the red box is where they actually get up to, and this is our own move. So now you could drop back with the bishop either to g6 or e6.
Yeah, both look playable. I mean, there's also rook e1 because you can't take with a queen. You'd have to take with a bishop, which looks like awkward.
We've got a new move though. Tivi played something completely different.
Probably a much stronger move here, which I didn't consider, which is b4, which is
a
space gainer.
Yeah.
Could I consider maybe taking and going b5, or is that just trying to grab
d3?
Yeah, because that's actually not an untypical idea in these kind of systems. Maybe just go b5 here. And then if you go c5, I drop the bishop back and then claim that the knight is going to come to an excellent square on d5.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks okay for black. I mean, I think what you'd probably do, you probably wouldn't go c5 there, Natasha. You'd probably consider other options like maybe even some kind of rook c1 move, because the point is that if you take on c4, then I would claim that c6 is slight weakness.
Yeah.
The question is then maybe black should trade on e1 and then you take with a bishop, and then I take on c4, queen c4, and then go knight d5.
I'm going to just turn off the clicking sound. 1 minute.
Yeah.
There we go. No clicks anymore. Yeah, and this pawn still looks...
It's still weakness, so you could just go a3 and then... Yeah, and then it's not so clear. But black could probably go rook c8, and if b5, maybe even knight e7. So I think there's decent options here for Richard. To be honest, I'm going to make a prediction now. I think Richard will get a result in this game. I don't think he'll win. I think that would be
too draw. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's important for Richard. He really wants to get a GM norm. I think he's struggling a bit recently with his form. He's not been playing that great. Well, he said he
I'll
hasn't.
tell you what, like both his kids are playing as well. So I imagine he's not gonna like throughout this tournament, he's not gonna have much time to not prep his own games. He'll be prepping with his kids probably. Because he's got Nina and Max, both who are playing really, really well at the moment. So if either of them sort of gets on a winning streak, they're going to have to he's going to have to be prepping them as well as doing the same.
He did say, because he did Hastings, but I think it's more expensive for him to do tournaments as well. I mean, he's got a reasonable job, but it's like obviously has to pay school fees, and it's expensive for him to do these tournaments a lot of time because he has to pay for the accommodation for the kids as well. But I think here probably it would be commuting from Essex. So Bishop G6 is played, which is also a reasonable choice, and maybe what might consider a move like A4 continuing the space expansion.
Yeah, look at these pawns. So, and then what breakthrough with try and go B5 or A5 or something.
Kevin Winton says, "Is it school kids break? I should know as one of my daughters is a teacher, but holidays." Yeah, I believe it is, Kevin. Yeah.
Yeah, it's it is for lots of schools. It is half term this week.
Yeah, that's right. I think they only get 1 week off and then they have to go back.
Yeah, but it allows some of the kids to play, which is lovely, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you do find now, actually, Natasha, in these tournaments. I remember playing it last year, and I drew with a Polish kid quite early on. He didn't seem like great a player, but I mean, I didn't play very well, and I got to some complicated position I couldn't calculate. And he kept offering me draws as well, which I found slightly annoying. But yeah, you find that now that a typical pairing in open tournaments is somebody born after 2000, quite often after 2010. So it becomes more and more like you just feel like you're an old man playing against, an old person playing against kids, basically.
Right. Well, here's two, I would say, youngsters. I'm switching to board 2. Right. Derek Shani against Fernandez. And so Borna's white looks like a French defense has happened here.
Right.
Do you want to actually? We're really near the start, so I'm going to just show the first few moves. So it is a French, and early Queen D7 by Daniel Fernandez. Because Daniel, he normally plays he likes to play non-standard stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I actually wrote an article about him recently, and I think he's somebody to admire in a way because. This was the start of his run last year. He came second to Adams in this tournament. And at the time, he was only rated about 2480. And in the period where everybody else has been losing points, Daniel played a lot of chess. And he managed to gain quite a lot of points, which is unusual in this period. Most players like myself have been dropping because we're playing against underrated juniors. So he's clearly shown that he's played at a very high level. He was unlucky not to get picked for England, for example. He was very close to getting picked there. And but the other thing about his style that I've noticed, and he looks like he's a lucky player because he's like a lot of time he's taking risks and he's winning a lot of games. He's got a high percentage of wins. But when you look a little bit deeper, you realize it's not luck, actually. He's taking risks. So he's essentially putting opponents under pressure. And they're blundering. They're blundering in complicated positions. He's finding his way through the complications.
He kind of keeps a lot of play in the position, doesn't he?
I don't think he minds having a worse position. I don't think he minds he just wants to get a creative position that he feels reasonably comfortable in. And psychologically, I think he's quite strong.
Yeah. So White's just played Queen H3. Is he trying for perhaps G4 and F5?
Yeah, I mean, this position also looks a little bit like a Caro-Kann, doesn't it? It looks like an advanced Caro-Kann. Yeah, I think that is essentially, you're absolutely right. I think G4 and F5 is possibly on the agenda for white, although, so black needs to find a way to complete development. I mean, one move you could consider there is Bishop B4, potentially, maybe just developing the bishop and then bring the knight out to E7. So let's, a line like Bishop B4, you could consider G4. I'm wondering then if black could even maybe
go too much. He might go queenside, mightn't he?
Yeah, and black might go H6 or maybe consider H5 even. Even giving up a pawn just to secure the F5 square for the knight. So moves like knight E7 coming to the agenda. Knight E7 now, slowing down the advance. I mean, do you take and then go F5? But it looks to me, I don't know.
You kind of don't want to, do you? You don't want to give up one of your bishop or your only bishop. You don't want to.
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably take back the bishop, and then after F5, and maybe take your advice and castle queenside. I quite like this.
Long. Yeah.
What is white doing? It's just create a weakness. Maybe knight E2 though. Knight E2. Carry on. Maybe now I lash out with H5. I can start lashing.
Lashing.
I mean, there is an idea of maybe going G5, EF5, G6, but that's probably too much. I'm giving away too many pawns. Take and then knight F4.
Knight F4, try and get something
dynamic. Like, the problem is you have G5.
They could put the knight on. Oh no, if they put the knight on E6, you take on G6. So they have to do something about this one.
Well, the problem is they go G5, and maybe I'm in trouble, right? Like, I've got E6, but you just move the queen.
Coming. Yeah,
E6, you just move the queen, and then like queen D6, and then I'm just in trouble. There's just no good move there.
This is horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I could save a piece with knight G6, G4, knight E7, queen E7, queen H4, but I mean, I'm just
nice.
loads of pawns down now, so this is not.
Yeah, but they could just exchange queens perhaps and.
It could exchange. It could do anything really.
Do anything, yeah. Those pawns look quite.
Maybe even just queen B6 is an option as well. Or queen B4 actually was another. Just get full greed. I'll go full greed with queen B4. Yeah. Rook E8 was also another good option. Rook E8 as C3, and then I take on B2 and start getting really greedy.
Take them all, Danny.
Yeah, I feel like white's just giving away too much here, so I don't think you can do all that. But
yeah, he's got to play it a bit slower, hasn't he?
I feel like the position is probably objectively balanced, but you kind of feel like Daniel will probably outplay him later in the game. He seems comfortable, and he's kind of he's a very good counter-attacking player. Actually, Daniel is very astute player. So yeah, I think
black for this one, are you?
I think actually it's an important tournament, important year for Daniel, because although he's kind of got to that 25-30 level, he's not won a big tournament like a Cambridge. I said to him actually recently, I said that if you win, he was close to winning the British last year. He was the one who was probably pressing Adams the most during the course of the event. He was close to winning it. He didn't quite go over the line, but I think this is an important year for him to kind of confirm that promise and potentially, break through and win a big tournament.
Yeah.
Because I think if he did that, then he would probably get in the Olympiad team, or he'd be very close to getting the Olympiad team. But yeah, this is it's not easy to get in the Olympiad team anyway. Now it's getting tougher and tougher because you've also got.
Depends who's available, doesn't it? Because it
depends who plays. If Gawain plays, then it makes it tougher because you've got Adams, you've then got obviously Vita Yugov, you've got David Howe, you've got Luke McShane, you've got Gawain. So you've got the top 5. Now, if Gawain doesn't play, does someone like Shreyas potentially get picked ahead of Daniel? I think they might well go for Shreyas because he's younger. But if Daniel was to win Cambridge, I think he would be in a position might be very difficult to ignore.
Yeah. I'm not allowed to comment on any of this, Danny, you know.
Oh, because you're a selector. I forget
Yeah.
this. I thought it was just Malcolm just selected whoever he wanted.
No.
And then
Now, let's see Peter Wells against Eldar Gasanov. Didn't Gasanov didn't he win the Blitz? Or he was my memory's really bad, but
he won the British Blitz title. I wasn't playing. Well, I did play actually in the qualifiers. I didn't get through the qualifiers. So I played the Northeast qualifier, but I finished third. It was like two of us who were tied on quite a big score, but I finished third on tiebreak, so I didn't qualify. And then obviously it saves you a trip to Warwick or whatever. But yeah, Gasanov won it. But apparently he's not from. Somebody was telling me he's actually Russian.
I thought it was Ukrainian.
Well, he's listed as Ukraine, but I was chatting to Chernow and he said Gasanov spent a long time in Moscow. So, but I think he's like half Russian and half somewhere like Azerbaijani or something like that. But he's listed as Ukrainian, and I think he's married to a Ukrainian woman.
Right.
Something like that, right? He's a nice guy anyway. So, I mean, Russia, Ukraine, I know there's a war, but they're obviously very similar. They're quite close to each other. And Putin would argue.
Loz is saying his wife is Russian. Maybe he's
Ukrainian. Oh, his wife is Russian, right? Yeah, but he spent a lot of time in Russia, I believe.
Right. So, okay. So we've got Peter Wells, a very creative player who likes using his time up, thinking about interesting ideas. So he's got down to half an hour. Gasanov has 1 hour 10. And now, what about this position? So we've whites. So black's taken the pawn on c4. Do you think he can try and hold on to that pawn?
Yeah, I mean that is
b5 or something.
The critical try would be to play a move like b5. But I mean, I think you have to do something like that at some point anyway, because otherwise, how are you going to develop? But maybe white could consider the move knight fg5, which is a typical idea where you.
He's trying to come in on the long diagonal, perhaps.
You get a feeling about you get a feeling about games. I've got a feeling Wells will win this. So I've got a feeling that Richard will draw against. I've got a feeling that Fernandez is going to win against. Well, that's not really, because Fernandez is a big rating favourite. But I mean, this game, Gasanov is the big favourite on paper. Well, maybe not a big favourite, but he's high rated now.
Yeah.
But Wells is a very good player.
No, definitely. Yeah. And okay. And so he's given up this pawn. So if he can get this attack to work, because I guess you've got like, what have you got for white? You've got sort of these sort of things against h7 because you're threatening immediately this.
Yeah.
And you've also got that and that, and you've also got rook to the open file.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. There is a move. I mean, actually, knight f6, you'd very easily panic here and you'd think that's a decisive threat. But actually, when white takes on h7 at the end, you've got this move king f8. So it's not necessarily winning by force. So you could maybe even consider a move like h6.
Let's try it. h6. Okay, I want to try it. So takes.
Get out of knight. Now, if you take directly, I go queen f6. And, I call your bluff. And then if you go queen h7, I go king f8.
Yeah.
And where goes the win, maybe white's even. But you can carry on. You can go queen h8.
But look, and then knight h7.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But then look, you're threatening that.
But now you see knight h7.
He's actually checkmate at the moment. Go on, where are you going?
Bishop b7 here, Natasha. Bishop b7, give up the exchange. And then you get the. Although there will be a bishop f3 at the end, so you won't survive with a bishop pair, but it's not 100% clear because bishop.
This is fun though. Okay, and so you just take here.
Yeah, then I take on f.
Unless they've gone intermediate. Oh no, they haven't. I was going to say this intermediate move, queen g6. Certainly, maybe you just take on b7 and it's nothing. So you've,
Yeah,
there's nothing else
yeah,
other
yeah.
than there's nothing other than just recapturing.
Well, maybe you could be really actually go back a move. You could be really
Yeah.
cheeky. You could go
Yeah.
Queen F2 and then Bishop A8 and claim the knight on H7 strapped. But
No,
I
but you
think that's
lost a
too much.
piece. You lost a piece. Oh, the knight on H7
Knight
strapped.
strapped, right?
Yeah. Okay. So here.
Probably take with the king, so
Okay.
the F2's defended, but it doesn't really
Oh,
matter.
okay.
You probably take with the king and then Bishop A8 and then Bishop F3.
And then Bishop
And I
F3.
think that's probably not going to be enough for black because although the knight's trapped, it will still take some time to round it
You
up.
still get, yeah, and you probably get a pawn for it, wouldn't you? If
Yeah,
you...
I don't think black can do all this. So maybe that whole idea of knight G5 was actually quite dangerous. But the problem with all these forcing variations, I tend to find when you look at all these lines, you miss something really obvious, like at the start of the whole variation.
Yeah.
Right? When they go B5, knight G5, there was probably something really obvious for black there that we were missing.
But say you just defend, right? Say you don't go into any of this. Say you just go like G6 or something.
G6 feels so dicey because
Does it feel really dodgy to you?
yeah. Queen C3, right?
Oh.
And it might be just winning tactically already. Like knight F6, Queen C3. And King G7 is going to run into knight E4, and H6, you even have knight E4 there anyway.
Yeah.
It's just I'm just smacking.
All right. That doesn't look too nice.
Yeah, you got to be slightly careful about how you do it. I could go Bishop B7 though. Bishop B7 directly, and then if knight F6, Queen H7. Sorry,
so Bishop B7 here.
Yeah. Although there are also moves like Rook D1, but let's say that might be a more realistic.
Let's try this one out. Yeah, here.
Now this is working for black, I think, because Queen F6.
Queen F6. We
Queen
take
H7, King F8. There is Bishop F3 anyway. Possible backup variation. Bishop F3. Bishop takes, knight takes. But I'm not convinced that's very good for white because.
So we've swapped a sort of H pawn for that because this pawn's quite.
Yeah. I'll be
nice, isn't it?
We're boarding down to an end game.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a huge asset with that, as you said, that protected pass pawn on C4.
Yeah, but if we swap this one off, right? So takes and takes.
I'll play with a knight. I quite like black's position now. Maybe some move like. Although, yeah, I mean the queen's going to re-centralize with Queen E4. Maybe Rook D8 is a move. Just take the file. If Queen E4, I can stick the Rook on D5 to cut that queen for the time being. Yeah, it's probably not 100% clear. This it was level material at the moment.
Yeah.
There's also sorry, yeah. There's also
I was thinking white's got this queen, knight and queen, so kind of needs to try for attacking stuff.
Yeah,
but if the queens come off, that one's going to be good, and this one.
There's maybe even moves like A4 in here, like just trying to undermine, weaken B5 a little bit, and then maybe, you could envisage. Yeah, it's probably unclear this, objectively speaking, but I don't know. What do you think about this position, Natasha?
I think honestly, I do like that pawn once you get to here. So I don't think white's delivering mate. So I would say black's better from this position. But I don't necessarily think I don't know whether we would have had something better earlier on.
It's interesting that somebody said that the British Rapid Play, apparently, are they sure about the British Rapid Play? In the 1980s, it was £10,000 first prize. That sounds like a lot. Yeah. I know that I think they're getting mixed up with the British Championships. British Championships in the 1990s was 10,000. I mean, the problem is I didn't really play chess back in 1980s. That was before my time, right? So I didn't play the British Rapid Play in the night. I think the British Rapid Play is coming up actually. It's in Peterborough, but
there's one. It's the first weekend in March, isn't it?
But yeah, I mean, again, I think I get my hotel covered, but once I pay for the train and everything, the first price is 600.
Yeah, you got to win it, Danny. That's the thing.
You have to win it, like to even make any kind of reasonable. This is the problem with with chess now. Somebody pointed out the first prize is 1,500. Someone like Michael Adams will probably win it. Again, that he's like the best of the best in the country, and he's getting 1,500 quid for a whole week's work. It's not actually that. He'd probably get a fee. I would imagine that Adams would probably get a decent fee on top of that, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not great, is it, really, for professional chess is. So what we do in chess, actually, Natasha, we spend all this time training these kids so they can also play in tournaments for zero money, right? So they get good and they play in tournaments where they can also win no money. So that's the whole point. They become grandmasters, so they become poor like us. That's the whole point.
Hang on. When you say us, right? I've got a job and I play chess for hobby, and it's I mean, chess has been really good for me. Like, I've traveled with it, and I've done all sorts of things I wouldn't have done.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I actually think.
Well, I didn't become professional, so that was a good move for me because I was never strong enough to do that, which I think.
Yeah, but if you'd have done it full time, like if you spent like hours every day training, I was reading about Stephen Hendry actually, a biography. It's quite a good autobiography. But he was saying that when he was younger, obviously he took up snooker and everything, quickly became talented. But where he made the real breakthrough is when somebody said to him, "You got to treat it like a full-time job."
Yeah.
So, this is the problem that I've had over the years is, I'm not spending 4 or 5 hours a day on chess, studying chess. I didn't when I was younger. I played Kozol earlier on chess.com and I beat him. And I thought, well, this guy won the European Championships a few years ago. Okay, we're going back nearly 20 years that he won it. I think, well, why wasn't I playing more tournaments like that over the last 20 years? I should have been playing more tournaments like that. Because at the end of the day, you got to work hard. You got to play a lot. You got to work hard. But now there's actually no motivation to do that because the prize money is so low in a lot of these tournaments and the conditions are getting
worse. Though, if you had a different type of job, you would have to work every day of the week. You would.
Yeah, you would.
You can't just not.
I agree. And I'm trying to do more now. I'm trying to do more now because I realise part of the reason my life situation isn't great is because, maybe like not a consistent enough work ethic. I've had periods where I've worked hard, but when I say work hard, I mean, I'm generally not working hard on studying chess. I'm working hard in terms of writing books and stuff because that's where the money is.
Yeah.
Playing in tournaments is not really where the money is, or it's very difficult to, maybe if I got to 25, 50 strength, difficult to do now because I'm older. But if I got there, I might win a bit more prize money. But it's still very tough. It's very tough to. And what we're seeing now is there's so many of these juniors now who are
right. Danny, come on, tell us about Shresk because he's on 2 GM norms and he manages to get his third. That's it. That's it, because he's rating 2483, so he could be, I think, the youngest English GM ever, right?
Yeah.
And so, tell me, he's playing Richard Weaving. I know Richard Weaving because Richard Weaving he's an actuary, just like me.
Okay. Well, apparently Shreyas is working hard. Somebody said he's doing 8 hours of work every single day on chess, which is impressive.
Wow, that is impressive. But this is how to improve, isn't it? He's gonna.
Yeah, you just got to do like hard work, and he's not going to school either.
Yeah.
And apparently he's even got a GM that trains him full time. So they're really going after it.
Yeah.
I think there is a fear as well. I mentioned this before. There's a fear that why the reason I think they're helping people like Shreyas and Bodhana is maybe there's a fear that they could potentially go to another federation. I don't know. That's just speculation. But you know, we've seen good players go.
I think we invest in the players because they're good and they've got a lot of potential.
They're good. But the problem
it's really exciting and wonderful.
No, I understand that. But the point I'm trying to make is people like Dominic Lawson and Malcolm Payne have made a big effort.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
Government funding, because they're suddenly aware that for the first time in quite a while, we've suddenly got big talents now who are coming through. And if you don't invest in them, if you don't put money into them, they could potentially, you know, say, look, well, you know, England aren't doing anything. Let's, you know, we've suddenly offered this money from elsewhere. Why don't we go somewhere else? You know, but yeah, but the thing is now, it's very hard to say like who's a good junior because there's 8-year-olds who are smashing GMs. So you look at Shreyas and you think, wow, he's really good. But actually then you think, well, there's these 8-year-olds who are destroying GMs. I mean, the whole situation is just mad now. It's just gone insane. And I think this generation of like, I'm talking about the 8 to 10-year-olds are potentially the best that we've seen since the Magnus Carlsen 1990 generation. We had Sergei Karyakin, Nepomniachtchi, and David Howe.
They're fabulous. And the thing is that also, right, you can't, like, there's still a lot of time between 8 and adult, right? And so you could have 10 strong 8-year-old juniors and and you don't quite know, you know, it's going to take study all the way. It's
and I mean, it's not that Shreyas wasn't that good at, you know, he was also very good when he was like 8, 9, 10, right? So they're not necessarily going to jump ahead of him that easily, but it's like, I think the whole situation chess now is very confused because there's so many good juniors, and if they keep going, you're going to be looking at a scary generation of like mid-witch cuckoos.
Now, Danny, look at this position though, because this is Shreyas has done that. Because how did this knight takes f7 come about?
It doesn't look like that.
Should we start from just a
go for move 1, maybe go for move 1.
Move 1. Let's see it. So d4, c6. Go some. Here you go. You play this sort of stuff, don't you, Danny?
Yeah. Well, I'll play everything. This is a Vienna variation, though, right?
Right, and so Shreyas has gone e4.
Yeah, this is the well-known pawn sack. This became fashionable in recent years. Bishop takes c4.
Knight takes.
Knight e4. Castles.
Give it up, and they take. Take, and then I guess it's too dangerous to then take this one.
No, you can, but it's not. Yeah, the best line is Bishop e7.
Yeah.
This
Queen e2.
Oh, it's interesting when Queen e2 because you know they normally go Knight e5 there. I think, Natasha.
Do they?
Like so maybe this is a new wrinkle, Queen e2. It's all been analysed to death. Knight e5 is supposed to be very slightly better for white, I think.
Okay.
Queen e2
maybe
is an interesting wrinkle.
Yeah. He's trying to do something different anyway, so it's not all theory, I guess.
Yeah, but eventually got like the knight came into e5 anyway. Like rook d1,
knight d7, and now knight e5.
Maybe black should just take, you know. But then you take with a pawn. That's the problem. You take with a pawn, and you get like queen g4. I think that's the idea.
Yeah.
Like bishop d7, queen g4, with quite a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And then like rook e3 is coming.
Bring this one, rook lifts and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, they're horrible for black. Yeah, like, this is the kind of thing that happens in the main line. Actually, you know, maybe it's okay for black, but it looks scary anyway.
This looks fun to play for white, though. I'd much prefer to play it for white.
I agree with you. Yeah. So he went knight f6, which is keeping more tension, but obviously now white.
Shreyas still does a rook lift. Yeah, he's going for it. c5. Well, we saw the position at the end. This is a lovely sort of position. I want to take this up, except I don't know the moves. Here we go. Queen c7 and rook g3. So he's not being subtle, is he? He's kind of just going for the king.
Yeah, somebody mentioned some of these GMs that I'm mentioning that losing to 8-year-olds are only 2,300, but they're still GMs, right? I mean, 8-year-olds. I mean, it's funny actually. I played a blitz. Sorry to go off the topic of this game. I played a blitz tournament at Hastings. I lost to a 9-year-old. And I thought all the way through my chess career, I never lost to players that young. So I think this whole generation that's coming through now is a bit freakish. And someone did mention that a lot of these players will quit, which I agree with. They'll probably stop playing chess, but you only need a few of them to come through. You know, and yeah, I think they're scarily good. That's the point I'm trying to make. So
I guess I'm sure COVID has something to do with it, because they would be, you know, we were all stuck inside, and they must have been playing just like 1-minute games or something, and they must have played so many.
Massively, yeah. I think the whole pandemic changed everything, you know, and but we'll see over the next few years, you know. But it could. My prediction is we could have a 14-year-old world champion in about 5 or 6 years' time. That would be interesting. So yeah, after knight f6, what did white play?
Mary Hatman likes playing white here as well.
Yeah, I think everybody.
Here we go. Bishop h6.
Just a simple attacking position. G6, rook f. I had a game against Reyes.
To be attacking than trying to defend. Some people like it though. Some people like to.
I was black against Reyes, and funny enough, we had very similar contours in that game because he also had a knight on e5. It was in a 4-NCL game.
Yeah.
And had a weakened dark squares. So sometimes people consistent. That's another thing you see with strong players. They're very consistent with the way they play the game. We saw that with Michael Adams. He's a very consistent player. He's just got a consistent iron kind of. That's one of Adams' great strengths. Would you say, Natasha? Is he's got a very kind of consistent, like very iron hand like approach to chess, right?
His moves sometimes seem quite simple, don't they? But just sort of keep it. He keeps it under control without.
It makes it look good and it makes it look simple, but there's a lot of calculation. When I analysed with Strauss after that 4-NCL game, he did see a lot. And I thought it reminded me of Adams, you know, his calculations, very smooth and kind of, it's just like he's just a very good player, right? So what Black took on C5?
Richard took on C5 with the queen, of course, because otherwise the knight on F6 hangs. And so now Black's a pawn up. But we've got this attack for white coming in. So rook e1, b5, going for some counterplay because trying to get the bishop back out on he's trying to get the bishop out this way.
Yeah, it's all about time, this position. It's like Black have enough time to escape.
He's looking at this, you know, all of this stuff. So
but bishop e7 looks suicidal, but maybe he felt there was no. He must have seen knight f7, surely, but he must have felt there was no option.
Well, I wonder if he thought he'd try and tempt him to do it just in case it doesn't work, sort of thing. So
what other move could you play? I mean, is there any other option for Black other than bishop b7? You go back a move. Sorry.
Maybe like you do want to get this bishop out, but maybe like a5, a4, and try and force this bishop that
white might have a direct threat of going bishop g5, and then just forcing the Black knight to move, or you take on f6, and then if the Black knight moves, you just take on f7 anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the threat. The bishop g5 can be met with king g7, but the problem is a8 might be hanging as well in a lot of lines. Like you said, like a5, I could go bishop g5, king g7, take on f6, bishop f6, rook f6, king f6, queen f3, and then I'm just breaking through. And in fact, it's probably going to be mating as well, like queen f3, and where do you go with the king? Like you can't even, like I can maybe even just ignore the rook on a8 and just take on f7.
Yeah. This looks really bad, don't you think?
Yeah. You know what would be really amazing if Shreyas won Cambridge, which I wouldn't surprise me if he did.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say there's a lot of people that could win Cambridge, but Shreyas is certainly one of them.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I was playing. I don't think I'd win it though, but maybe that's been negative. But it's just hard now. Chess is hard, and it's just like it's someone like Adams has got the class to kind of fend off these younger generation, but it's tough for everybody else.
He's very impressive, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, and I made the
He had
prediction.
such a good year last year.
The British Championships, I said that Adams might get past Penrose's record of 10, because I think Adams is on 8. And he's in his early 50s now, and he needs to get to tie Penrose needs to get to 10. To get past, he needs to get to 11, which seems doable, right?
But it's never going to be easy even to win one, is it? Though, because it depends who plays.
Every time Adams plays it, he wins it.
Yeah.
Every time he plays it, he wins it. So you say it's not easy, but he's just winning it every single time. So he's obviously he's obviously doing it. But the only problem that I see in completing that would be that people like Shreyas get very strong. People like Bodhana, funny enough, they could be the people to stop him. Because if they suddenly improve and get to 2,600.
Danny, they're asking you for a Mickey Adams impression.
No, I don't want to do an impression. I'll do my Godfather impression.
Okay.
No, they won't even do that. I can't be. I'm not. What do you think I'm performing? I think he didn't actually ask for one. He said he does a good impression of Mickey.
Yeah, true. He didn't ask. So here we are. This is the moment, because this is where Shreyas hopped in with knight takes f7, which does look good, doesn't it? Because if you just take it back with the king, you're going to get queen e6. I suppose you get mated pretty quick.
Queen e6 and then rook f6.
Oh yeah. Straight away. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have to. Richard had to play this.
I mean, it's possible that. Yeah, I think because it's very tempting to go queen e6 here, Natasha, which might be possible, but queen e6.
Yeah, because there's a smothered mate, isn't there?
No, there isn't, because the bishop's on. You want the bishop on somewhere else because there's no knight h6. You need knight h6 with the smothered mate.
Well, no, because here and then queen g8 and rook takes and then there's mate.
Yeah, but bishop d5 here, Natasha. It's not so simple. That's why.
Bishop d5 here.
Yeah, he would have played this otherwise. But bishop d5. You do have a weird move, knight d8. Yeah, you've got a weird move actually. Knight d8 might be.
D8. You have to take.
So you take. Now you could take with a bishop or the knight, but probably with a bishop. King h8.
And then we've got knight
f7.
f7, king g8.
But where's the win? Maybe there's no win. Maybe
where's the win? There is. I'm sure there is. But where is it?
I don't think there is a win here. I think
it's a draw, is it? It's just a draw.
I think it's just a draw. Because you've only got a piece for the queen anyway, so you got to probably got to start thinking about bailing out now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just took out a pawn, simple chess, right, which is much stronger, and now it just looks winning for white.
With the pawn is nice move, right?
You don't have to go bonkers
because we're.
So it's black move in its position.
Yeah. No, it's a bit more has been played actually. King f7.
Oh, you did actually, right?
King e8. Oh, and queen takes f6.
Yeah, he's going to win this, isn't it?
So he's actually exchanged down, but it looks like that black king's not going to survive at all.
It's gone wrong here for black. I mean,
we've got some more moves. Rook a b8. Bishop f8. Oh my gosh.
Wow. This is...
Ouch. Yeah. Okay, so they can defend with just one of the rooks to the 7th.
Yeah, I mean... but the problem is you're going to lose a rook. Like, if you go rook b7, I go bishop e7, rook e7, queen h8, king d7, rook d1, and take on d8. If you go rook d7, I go bishop e7, rook e7, queen h8, king d7, rook e7, king e7, queen b8. And it's all just an easy
rook takes here.
No. You check on h8 first, Natasha. Sorry.
On h8 first.
Yeah, king d7. Yeah. Or you could even go rook d1 and then rook d1 doesn't work because of king c7. Yeah, you take and then you take on b8. Yeah.
Queen takes in there.
And it's game over. Base, he's not going to survive this. He's got a check. He's got a check on.
It's not a perpetual.
But he's even queen g3 is technically winning. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. Yep. It's gone. It's gone.
Yeah,
So
something went wrong in the opening or the early middle game to even allow.
Oh no, this is where they're actually at. But yeah, that knight f7 must just be strong and working. And
Is this a younger guy, Richard Weaver? I'm getting confused, or is he like an older guy?
he's the one. He's married to Anna. Do you know Anna?
Oh, Anna York Weaving.
Yeah.
I might have played him a few years ago in the 4NCL, and he played like some B6 system. We drew, but I was probably winning at one point, but I missed like a nice win, and then we drew.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe is Sharks, right? Because I think Anna is friends with Ben Purton as well.
Yeah, probably.
And yeah, someone says he's an actuary. Yeah, it's a lot. Just Zoe Varney's an actuary. Yeah, are you an actuary? You're an actuary, aren't you?
Yeah. And Zoe and Richard. Yeah, we could get a strong team, couldn't we? Richard Tozer as well. He's IM.
My
and
sister's an
I think
accountant.
Andrew Muir as well. I'm not sure.
There's
So there's quite a few. Yeah.
You could have like a dinner party of actuaries, right?
Sounds pretty tempting. Okay, I'm going to move on though. Jonah Willow against Ian Gourlay. So look at Jonah. He's lined up his pieces. He's got a very safe king there.
Yeah. But the bishops are a bit awkward. The bishop on h3 doesn't look ideally placed. It'd probably rather be on someone like c2. Like, it looks a bit awkward there.
Yeah.
I think quite like Black's position, actually. Yeah, Ian's a nice guy. I played him the other day in 4NCL. We drew. Actually, he said that before that game I had 4-0 against him. But I was white in all those games. Black in that 4NCL game was very solid, and it was like everything was coming off at the end. So I accepted his draw offer. But he's fair. He's another guy who's been a victim of deflation, because a few years ago he was 2360, 2360, 2370. Now he's like low 2300s.
Yeah. Okay, so how would Jonah breathe some life into this white position then from here?
I mean,
you're going to try and swap off some stuff, maybe.
I mean, I'd be slightly concerned here as white. I might even be worse, because I mean, there is a danger Black might go knight g6, h5, h4. Although, having said that, you can always play knight h4 as white.
That's what I was thinking, knight h4. Someone's saying this looks like shogi. That's yeah, I'll make it that. So like the Anaguma castle. But we're not going to say it's like shogi because most of our viewers won't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
but do try shogi if you get a chance. It's very, very nice.
I mean,
but anyway, here and here maybe, and swap.
Yeah, I mean, that is one possibility. It's also maybe king h1 and then move the knight and then go f4 is another option. But
nice. Japanese chess, yes, Kevin, yes. Need f4 somehow. There's a consensus building up around this plan. So what, knight out here and then f4 to break it open. Yeah, it makes sense now you put it on the board.
Yeah, but I'm not so sure because Black will just respond e4. Like,
what if these come down? Then you.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like, okay, so how does Black play? Like, Black's position looks quite good, but it's true that it's a sort of position that could get undermined. I mean, I was slightly surprised he went bishop c5 because bishop d6 looked more logical to me, to maybe set up some kind of e4, because white's got a bishop pair. So if you exchange a bishop pair, you remove. I mean, I think that's normal strategy, isn't it? When your opponent's got a bad piece, you've got a bad piece on h3. The more pieces you exchange, the more you expose the weakness of that piece.
Maybe he's thinking that one's bad.
Possibly, but long term, the bishop pair will be an asset for
you. No,
I mean, I'd consider that, especially as you're a lower rated player, and then go e4, and then just play cynical chess. E4, Well, bishop c5 is okay, but I'm wondering if white might consider some kind of b4 plan, b4 a3, trying to place, or b4 a4 actually might be more in the spirit of the position. Let's say you went, because he doesn't seem to want to put the bishop.
Say he drops that way, just for argument's sake.
Then I go a4 and try and
yeah, and now white's got a bit more scope than it looked like initially. So,
now
but I wonder if he's trying to go d4. I wonder if that's what he's.
The d4 b5 maybe. And I'm in time to.
Oh, these are all kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I would be able to capture on d4, and it's not even that's not 100%, but yeah, hard position to judge, I would say, because it looks fairly unclear. But it's the sort of position where often in positions, a lot of positions, Natasha. You kind of like you can sum them up. You can kind of say, well, white's better or black's better. But this kind of position, I'm not sure who's better.
You're right, though. b4 was played. You guessed
Yeah,
Jonah's.
yeah. And that's the kind of move that Jonah will play because he's principal player.
Yeah. Maybe black should now just drop this still back that way.
That's what I was saying. But he's clearly lost the tempo because white is... Yeah, I mean, you're not so worried about black going d4 and undermining that structure, I don't think. So I feel like white's gained by playing b4. White, can you check the engine there, Natasha? I kind of feel... go back to when he went c3. Was bishop b6 better than bishop c5?
Oh, I want more lines. I need to do this thing. There we go. They like bishop c. Engine likes bishop c5 or bishop d6. They're both good.
Right. So after bishop c5, yeah, it actually does prefer black. Interestingly enough, yeah. And after bishop c5, b4 was that the sort of move?
It wants a4.
Right. So
but I think both.
Yeah. It's probably just like in a practical game unclear, and but the engine does seem to think that's what I felt like. The bishops, I think if white bishop was on a more normal square like c2, then white would be better. But like in this endgame, quite a nice endgame. But the bishop on h3 just looks really weird. It's just, well, where does it go, right? It's just got no scope. It's controlling some squares, though, right?
So it went back there. Here it was. This is where it was.
But yeah, you have to go back
because you have to go that way. Because if you go the other way, you get forked.
And you don't really want to go knight h4 because I would trade and then go king f7 and have a very comfortable endgame. What was the opening? Sorry, what was the?
Can't throw in c3 because they just take. Opening was Caro-Kann. Those ones are called Henkin. Caro-Kann.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, I had this debate with Keith because I think it was listed as something else. It's not even the Arkle-Kenkin variation. Where does it say the Arkle-Kenkin variation? Does it say that on the screen?
That was my knowledge.
No, it's not. Don't believe what Keith tells you. It's not the Arkle.
Not Arkle at all.
But it is quite a good opening. It's quite because if you go bishop f5, they play all this h4 stuff now, which is quite dangerous.
Yeah.
But c5, very, very direct stuff actually. And Kevin Winter was saying that Tiviakov has played more countries than Nigel Short.
Oh, really? Well, Nigel's played a hell of a lot.
Yeah, I think Tiviakov has been to every continent. He probably hasn't played a tournament in Antarctica. Is there the Antarctica Open?
Nobody lives in Antarctica. You'd end up playing penguins.
It'd be quite cold as well, yeah, like at night, right? So, if you could kind of get lost from coming back from the venue, you could be in trouble.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm going to turn off these show variation arrows. I'm going to just turn that one.
Okay, yeah.
It's confusing.
Have you
Okay.
noticed that it's getting quite hot now? Like even in February, it's actually quite. I mean, I felt today
Yeah.
quite warm. Like even February now, it's actually quite hot. There is, you
There's
can
all
tell.
that down at our road, there's like trees with lots of lovely blossom on it. I was walking in Box Hill yesterday, and there was
Right.
lots of trees with blossom. It's all come out really, really early this year.
Yeah, Cambridge is a nice place to play as well. I mean, the venue is very nice. There's a nice hotel, and you got that bit of green. Is it called Cambridge?
Parker's Peace. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really nice. I don't know who was that Parker person that was saying, because a lot of the stuff that's named up. I wonder if it was Jonathan Parker. But I thought
And unfortunately not, because it was there before Jonathan Parker went there.
Yeah, because Jonathan Parker is quite a well-known chess player who played a lot of chess. He's a very talented player, actually. He played a lot of chess 20-odd years ago. But he decided to go down the sensible route of getting a proper job. And
investment, wasn't he?
Yeah. But he was always a very good player.
I'm going to just do a quick share of the live venue to have a look. There you are. So we can just have a look at what's going on there. That's not Freddie, is it? Who's the little kid?
I'm not sure who that is. It's Neil Bradbury playing. So I could work it out, actually.
Oh, we'll work it out from the
parents. Yeah, Neil Bradbury. He's an IM from England. Nice guy, actually.
Who's he playing?
He's playing. Let me have a look.
It's not Freddie, I don't think. I don't know if even he's there.
He has got Ivano Mokic from Croatia, who was born in 2012.
Oh,
so
my goodness.
he could be 11 or 12. Very young player, right?
Fantastic. Okay, and we're getting a little bit of a view around the hall. And so we were talking about Parker's Peace. If you look through those windows at the back, that's where Parker's Peace is.
Is that the bar? Is that the name of the bar? Oh,
Parker's
no, that's the name of the grass bit.
The grass, that's the grass.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And Cambridge Green is actually in the university grounds itself, is it?
Oh, I don't know about that.
You went to Cambridge, didn't you, Natasha?
I did, yeah. But they're all different colleges, so you've got different bits of grass in the middle of each college, typically.
So how do you get into Cambridge? Because I never went to university. Do they go like, you're really bright, come to Cambridge, or?
Yeah, you have to pass.
I presume it's very, very. There's a lot of people applying, and
a
lot of super bright people that are probably getting rejected as well, right? From Cambridge.
I mean, there's stacks of good universities, so it's
yeah.
And depending on what you want, you can. There's loads of. I know because my kids are sort of at that stage as well and looking at all the different options.
But when I actually see the tournament, I'm like thinking, I always moan about how I don't play like enough tournaments, but when I'm actually there, I'm like, I just hope this tournament ends soon, right? I know it's a terribly negative way to look at it, but I'm like, I can't wait for this to end. Do you ever get that feeling when you play a chess tournament? You probably don't.
Yeah, I mean, I nowadays I prefer faster tournaments, and then I like it, but I find the long games are a little bit long for me. I've just flicked us to the Mickey Adams game, actually.
Oh, right.
So he's playing actually a junior player who's been improving a lot, Indy Southcott Moyers.
Oh, yeah, I know him quite well because I played him I played him in the English Championships last year in Berlin. I was actually winning that game, but I ended in a draw. And I played him at Hastings. That was a tough battle.
Yeah.
And I was never winning that game either. I was biting both games. He held me both times. So when I analysed him, I got the impression that he's comfortably 2,300 strength.
Yeah. I'm not surprised you say that at all. Yeah.
He's up, and Mickey's got a tough game actually on his hands here. I think he's at Berlin, and be interesting to see how he handles this actually, because I mean, this is the kind of position I've been drawing with Indy from. So I'd be interested to see how
Mickey makes progress.
Yeah, because you'd expect him to win the game, looking at the rating difference.
Yeah.
But I think it's not a good pairing actually because he's much better than his rating. I would still expect Mickey to win this because obviously he's so experienced. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, but it's not going to be easy. No.
He'll just keep grinding away. He'll just look for
Yeah.
any kind of chance. But this kind of looks kind of drawish, don't you think? Opposite coloured bishops.
Yeah. We're going to come back to this one because this is going to still go on for a little while.
Yeah.
Someone's written Bodana in capitals in the chat, so let's pop in there next. She won her game before, but I think it's a accelerated.
1 out of 1, right?
She's 1 out of 1. Here we are, Martin Lewis. So here we go. This is now she's also got a nice got these pawns in the center, but we've got this bishop here. What do you think of this?
Yeah, it looks fair.
How many pawns are there? Let's count the pawns before I start commenting on anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, same number of pawns. Now, Martin Lewis is the higher rated player, but I'd say Bodana's also underrated. So
yeah,
and she has a reputation of being extremely strong at endgames. So
yeah.
So we will see. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I mean,
so she's just recaptured something on c5. Actually, let's just go back a couple of moves.
Yeah.
So what's happened is she put her rook on c5. So she was going to double rooks on the c file, and then takes and takes. She's going to put her rook on c8 and try and get c4 in. Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it does look a bit dry, this position, but it's interesting. I watched an interview with Bodana. I think this was Sky Sports News, and it's quite recently. Because she's had all these great results where she's, like European Blitz was amazing. This is what I was saying about these 8-year-olds being like a little bit out of the ordinary. There's another one playing in this event who's recently switched from Scotland to England Federation.
You brought it. Yeah. We'll look at his one next as well. Yeah.
He was the one I lost to in a Hastings Blitz, and I blundered.
Oh, he's really strong as well.
Eddie Gordon as well, but he's Scotland. But Bodana, they were interviewing us. He said, "I want to be world champion while I'm a teenager." And I thought, wow, but she didn't specify. So I think
because you saw she beat Nurgal Salimova in the European Women's Blitz, who's like a candidate. So
it's crazy, right?
It's
but it is freakish to think how much they could improve, when they're like 15, 16, 17, when they're kind of coming to their peak, because they're nowhere near the peak at the moment, but they are spending a lot of hours. So you could argue, maybe there's other players who aren't, we talk about juniors who are spending a lot of hours studying chess. There may be other juniors who maybe not spending amount of time. Maybe they'll improve more when they're getting in their adult years. Maybe there's not as much improvement as you think with some of these kids because they're already spending many, many hours every day obsessed about chess. Do you think that also, I feel kind of sorry for juniors, as I mentioned this before, coming into chess now, because it seems almost like classical chess is dying, right? Because there's so much fear in the game. People are moving away from classical chess.
Well, say you go chess 960, which I really like personally. By the way,
I hate it. I'm the opposite.
I know loads of people hate it, but I think just because I find it hard to remember all the openings, so that makes that much easier for me.
Well, Bobby Fischer said, chess is a horrible game now. It's a horrible game. It's memorization. It's memorization. It's a horrible game now.
Yeah, I kind of. I wouldn't say it's a horrible game, but I do agree that it's too much memorization and not enough just kind of.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, why was chess invented? Why was chess created? Chess was created because the idea that you set your mind against someone else in an interesting game. It wasn't set, and people take it at an extreme level with this theory. But that wasn't the whole purpose of chess. The whole purpose of chess was to outplay your opponent, with a strategical game.
Yeah.
So people are going to move away from chess.
Oh, Kevin doesn't like either. Nobody likes chess 960. I don't understand that. Yeah.
I just find it ugly, like the way the pieces. I don't like it.
I mean, to me, it's like the same game as chess, except it's better because you're making things up from a bit earlier.
It is the same game. It's just the pieces arranged differently.
Yeah.
But I find it aesthetically ugly. It just looks ugly. You've got bishop on f1 and g1, and it just feels
That's very interesting, Danny. That is really interesting because it shows kind of how your tastes develop from your experience, right? Because you would find you've studied so much more chess than me. You would find bishops in a funny place. You'd find that ugly, whereas I'm like, oh yeah, let's see what you can do with this bishop there, even if it's not in the paper you'd normally have it, sort of thing. But you've probably got a much more refined sense of taste of chess.
No, because I think even as a kid, if someone showed me chess 960, I wouldn't have liked it then either. So it might just be a just everybody's different. I mean, there's a lot of these top players who are promoting chess 960, but do they really like it?
Because it's horrible. No one likes it. Nobody. I like it.
Natasha, do they actually like it, or are they actually just saying that because they're getting money from it? But then someone like Magnus is very honest, right?
Like Mary Hatman likes it, but Mary Hatman would like it, you see, because he's like me and him. We play lots of different games, and so we can't remember the theory.
Yeah,
and so we like kind of making it up from the beginning. But
yeah, somebody said it's horrible. It means you have to learn a whole new opening strategy and ditch what you've already learned. No fun in that. Yeah, I kind of agree with Kevin. I think it's a lack of harmony. But on the other hand, I kind of agree with you in a way, Natasha. I mean, I don't like chess 960. I think the solution is just to give up chess and take up another game that's not done.
Well, shogi, there you go, Danny. You can play shogi. That's like chess, but better.
Yeah, but I do think chess is a good game because I think one of the reasons why it's a good game is because the board is quite small.
Yeah.
Because so it makes a dynamic game. If you expanded it to make it more complex, to kind of jump ahead of computers, well, A, computers would catch up with you eventually anyway, and B, it wouldn't be as a dynamic a game as it was intended to be. So yeah, there's no easy solution, but the point I would try and make is that it might be slightly depressing for juniors like Bod Hanna who are coming into chess. I don't think he really cares about that now, but once he's older, so he might think, well, yeah, maybe they're right about chess being played out, right? Because it's like
but we will adapt. We will adapt, right? We're not going to just stop playing.
Yeah, but how do you adapt? I mean, if it's been played out, it's been played out. So maybe I'm just being cynical, but I just feel that maybe chess is dying, right? Why are we even doing this? We should just end the stream now, right? Except that chess is dead. That's it.
Danny, you were saying about the beauty in chess positions. So you can show the beauty to our audience of the chess positions.
No, I mean, I love chess, but it's like you understand there's a limitation in it.
Yeah.
And the danger is with computers are becoming so strong, and it's not just a problem for chess. It's a problem for a lot of things. That if you develop very, very powerful AI, that they solve a lot of things very quickly, and that takes away from human creativity. And already we're seeing with ChatGPT, the people are using that as like drawings, right? So a lot of art.
You've seen the video version.
Oh, that was scary the other day. Yeah, somebody posted it up, and there was some geeky-looking guy celebrating. Looked like me. I'm celebrating because I've not dropped below 2,400, yet, and it looked completely real. And you think, well, somebody could create a video of you and doing something. It's scary what they could do with it. Somebody could create a video of you committing a crime or something and put it online, and nobody will be able to tell the difference.
No, I know. And
actually, what it made me think, actually, Natasha, which, sorry to go too deep philosophically speaking, but the whole theory about simulations, right? Have you heard of the whole theory about life being a computer simulation?
Oh, what, like parallel universes and stuff?
No, not really. But the idea is that in theory, in the future, you'll have computers that are much more powerful than they are now, and they will be able to create real life simulations. Now, the theory is that if you've just got one simulation that is a real life computer simulation, there's already a 50-50 chance that the current reality we live in now, mathematically speaking, is already a computer simulation. So therefore, if you've got more than one, you see the chances that we're living in a real world go down, exponentially. So that was the theory that the guy was propagating. But whether
if it's simulations, right, then each one, there isn't really a real one at all, is it? They're just all real and not real, and
it's pointless thinking about this stuff. But the point I was trying to make was,
takes the pressure off a bit, though, doesn't it? Like, you don't need to be very successful or anything if it's just a simulation.
Well, yeah, you've got to believe that it's real, because if you don't believe it's real, then where does your mind go from there? So, but the point I was trying to make was, if you've got these videos that look absolutely real, then that's kind of going in the direction of what they were talking about with these very powerful simulations. So yeah, it's kind of scary to even go down that kind of. We're in a very strange world now. Sorry, I'm kind of going off. Maybe we should get back to the chess.
Let's right. Which game do you want to see? Do you want to see? We were going to see Supratit. Nick Sketos. Okay, so now here we have a dark squared bishop here. What do you think? Because this one, White wants to be able to get this out of the way. I suppose. Oh, White's exchanged there.
Chess Patzer, he said that he's waiting for AI. That's Jax, by the way. His friend Simon Williams as well. Like he's saying he's just waiting for AI to take his job. I can't remember what his job is. If he's some kind of computer programmer, maybe, but I can't. My mind. Oh, which game is this, Natasha? Sorry.
This is now Supratit
Banerjee. Turn the engine off as well.
Let's turn the engine off, because that's giving it away.
Gives it away, right?
Yeah.
Who's he playing?
Nick Sketos.
Oh, Nick. Oh, yeah. This looks good for Nick, actually. Like rook takes e8.
And Black's pawns are better, I suppose.
Well, it says Black is strategically winning. I mean, can we actually go through the whole game, maybe?
We can
quickly
whiz through. It's another French defense. Here we go. It's the trendy one. Oh, an exchange French from Supratit. So exchange French, I've heard, is quite drawish.
It's quite dry, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know Gormally has played this occasion.
Oh, did she? Yeah.
French. But normally you go with c4 now rather than castles. Okay, this is fine for White. Yeah, I mean, this is about equal.
e4. So now he's starting to go for some play. e5.
Yeah, knight d2.
Ooh, knight d2. Okay.
Well, okay for White. So I'm wondering why it's gone so horribly wrong, right? Bishop.
Yeah. It all looks fine so far. a6 takes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, already Black is at least equal, because maybe so b5 stuff was a bit premature, because I mean, the problem is now you've got a long-term weakness in the endgame. It shouldn't be that bad. It should be okay currently.
Couldn't White try and get like a knight in on f5 perhaps?
No, f5 is controlled at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, knight e6 is a good move, yeah.
Knight g4.
Right.
Knight g6. Here. This looks kind of fine.
Does it? I don't think so.
Oh, does it not? It does to me.
The more exchanges you make, the more you're turning a2 into a weakness. So this is really what Black wants. And the knight on e6 is very well placed.
Yes.
So he went,
He ganged up, and then this one.
Right. So it still should be just about okay for White.
To me, I don't like f4, but he's going for f5. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think can you go back to position before he went f4?
Yeah.
I might consider a move like h4 here. And then line up Queen G3, H5. I mean, the problem with Super Tit is that he's a little bit obviously lacking in experience. He's only, I mean, what is he, 9, 10?
Yeah.
Crazy. I mean, his potential is unlimited. Nick is an interesting player as well. He's somebody I know quite well. I lost to him, and he's quite a good player, actually. I lost to him in, he was the guy I lost to in about round 2 of the Blitz qualifiers. I blundered a piece. A little bit rusty, but, you know, he fair play, and he beat me on merit. And he's a quite interesting guy because he's always moaning on Facebook about. He makes me look like a positive person.
Danny.
He's always moaning about like, oh, he's going, oh, it's terrible that I'm not over 2,000. My life's ambition is to get over 2,000. My rating's dropped to 1,900. I can't even get over 1,900, and yeah, he's finding it tough because obviously you got all this deflation, and then someone like him as maybe would have got over 2,000 in years. He's beaten some good players, beaten Peter Roberson in a classical game. He's quite talented.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. F4 could backfire. It doesn't look that bad yet, though. F4 doesn't look that bad.
F6.
F6, rook back.
You couldn't go rook H5, could you?
But maybe just knight F8 or G6. Maybe G6 was
G6, and you still.
And then when you move the rook, like say you go rook H5.
So rook H5.
Yeah.
Because I want to get F5 in for him.
Yeah, maybe G6. Where do you move the rook?
Where do we go? Let's say we go discretion. Let's say we go backwards.
Now I'm gonna fee and checker the knight with knight G7.
Are you now?
My idea is Queen F5. And
we can't get F5 in now, can we? It's not possible.
Yeah, also rook E8 might be on the agenda, like rook E8.
Yeah. No, if we can't get F5 in, then it doesn't help.
Strategically, you're not in great shape.
No, I agree. And we can't just play it now because we lose our rook. That wouldn't be any good at all.
So rook back.
So rook back, yes.
And
then rook E8. But now we could go F5.
We could go F5. Did he not play F5?
No. Is knight F4 or something? Is that a no?
No, knight F4. You just take and then take on F4.
Yeah.
Or just take immediately.
Take on E8. Oh no, you can't. You can take on E8.
Or you could just take immediately because the rook will be defended on E1. So F5, I think you go. You'd probably just move the knight.
Knight G5 maybe coming.
I think knight F8 maybe, or knight G5 looks slightly wrong because I will take. I will take.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go knight G5, but I'd probably play somewhere like knight F8, solid enough. I agree with you. I would have gone F5, and then you take, and then you can move the bishop out. You're right. If you're going to play with like F4, you got to carry on. You got to keep being consistent.
B5, Queen G3, okay, 8, H4. Okay, so
he's too much.
Yeah, knight F8. So he should try and.
Yeah.
I was going to say he should try and keep the rooks on.
But this already feels very.
Then you have to give up the E file, don't you? So yeah.
It feels very like one-dimensional by White. All this play, like it's also, should I say, very committal because you're creating all these weaknesses, and Black has done a very good job actually. Maybe Queen F5 I would consider there. Like just I would just go Queen F5, H5. What have you got, right? Or even H5 immediately is another option, right? And then Queen F5.
If you could get the knight to somewhere like there, that would be quite good.
Or knight could even come into E4 later, or G6.
E4, exactly.
Queen F5, knight G6, Queen F5. But what he's done is probably fine. Queen E7, that's also good.
Queen e7. And so he's threatening he could swap.
Yeah.
Oh, if he swaps queens, he wins a piece, doesn't he? So
White's lost a strategical battle, really.
yeah.
So bishop d2 or something. Is this the position on the board?
This is it. Yeah, Queen e7's the last move played.
So computer thinks that White's already dead lost.
The thing is that a-pawn's on prees as well.
He's made too many weakening pawn moves. But the thing about kids is he won't care, right?
Like you just put it away. That's true. It's true. It's true.
He won't care. If I had this position, I'd get really depressed because I'd be like, oh God, what have I done? But he just won't care because he's a kid, right? Like, he hasn't got any scar tissue. He hasn't got any fear. That's why it's scary to play against them, because they're like, I just keep playing. And this does look very bad for White. He's been strategically outplayed. This would be a big win for Nick because quite a scary pairing to get.
Because if he wins now, then when Supratic, like in 10 years, has whatever crazy rating he'll have, then Nick can say, I beat him.
Yeah, I mean, who do you think is the most promising out of Supratic, Bodhana, and Shreyas? Because I did this kind of thing on social media, on Twitter, and I did like a poll, and I had Shreyas against Bodhana.
Yeah.
Who would you say is who would have the highest FIDE classical rating by the end of their career? Who would you go for?
I mean, in these, the actuary speaking in me would often go for the one who already has the higher rating. So I know you were comparing with Bragg as well, weren't you, and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So in general, I'd kind of go with the one that had the higher rating already, but but Bodhana's amazing, really, really good. So it's just that she'll then, it's will any player of that age, how will they keep their interest at that same level,
and will they keep improving at the same rate as they have? Because as I said before, if they're doing a lot of hours already, then there isn't as much improvement to come as you might necessarily think. And
but if she still finds it exciting, and because she's traveling to lots of places and getting the results, then that'll keep her excited.
Because I think what I would say is there probably hasn't been as promising a female junior player. I know I probably shouldn't categorize as that.
Ever. I mean, she must be stronger by miles than anyone there's ever been at the age of 8.
Maybe not worldwide, but certainly in England.
In England, for sure.
I mean, worldwide, Judith Polgar, I think she won a tournament when she was like 9 or 10. She was also very good because she was kind of hot house. Her and her sisters were hot house in Hungary. But I think Bodhana, I would have gone for Bodhana as being potentially more promising than Shreyas. But on the other hand, you could also argue the sexist angle, which is that male players tend to have a higher rating in general for whatever reason. Maybe there's more of us. So there are.
Although I don't think that works if you're comparing people one-on-one, because it's just because if you're comparing 8-year-olds plus Bodhana, will any of the 8 overtake her? Maybe. Do you see what I mean? But if you're comparing 1 against 1, who will be the stronger of 2 people with the same strength? I don't think.
Well, what I would say is I think that Shreyas, I think, will get 2600 plus. Whether he'll get the 2700, we don't really know. He could potentially get 2700 as well. I'm pretty certain he'll get. When I analysed with him, I felt he was already as good as people like Gawain, David, Luke.
Yeah.
I already felt like he was that level, right?
Yeah.
And he will be in the future. Maybe his rating doesn't reflect that yet, but I think he'll get to that level. With Bodhana, there's been very few women players in history who've gotten over 2600. So the percentage odds are against her. Right, but I do think that she's
quite like that, does it though? But I mean, if she Yeah, but I mean, but it's hard to go over 2,600. That's the thing, isn't it?
It's very hard. I mean,
but she definitely could. You know, she's strong enough now, and her style of play as well, right? She's like understands the position. She's, I believe, studies a lot and good at the end games and all this sort of stuff. She doesn't just win by tricks or anything like that, and concentrates really well. So, you know, so she could get there. She could get there.
Yeah. I think it's all, like you say, dependent on. I mean, actually, I was chatting to a friend of mine the other day, David Eggleston, because he teaches at a school, and he thinks that most of the kids that play, who he teaches, a certain age, they end up giving up.
Yeah.
So, you know, I also teach at a school. So you kind of seen these kids, you say, well, they're quite talented, but the point is that they might quit chess anyway. Now, it's slightly different with someone like Bodhana because he plays a lot as he plays in proper tournaments, and she's obviously very into chess. But yeah, it's very easy to get carried away and think, oh, that player's bound to be really good in the future. But they might not even, like you say, they might not even carry on playing chess, or they might not fulfill their potential as much as you think. So, but we are seeing a number of these players now. There's so many like good. It's crazy how many good like under 10s there are, or even like there's another kid who's gone from Argentina to Spain called Faustino Oro.
Oh yes, I've seen him.
And he also learned chess during a pandemic.
Yeah.
And he was only playing for a year, and he was already winning like the age groups in Argentina for his year, or South America. But he moved from South America to Spain because obviously there's not a lot more tournaments in Spain than there are in South America. But he's considered to be like a super talent as well.
Yeah.
But this actually feels like Nick's messed this up slightly because
you could get F5 in now if you really want to.
Yeah. I don't.
Rather than block the knight a bit and.
Yeah. Like, you know how depressing White,
how
depressing White's position would have been if Black had parked the queen on F5, he could have completely controlled the light squares. You set up some kind of light square blockade, and then you maneuver around forever. But now you're on F5. Yeah, I don't know what Nick's done at all here. I feel this is all wrong. Like, I can feel another whinging Facebook post coming on. I'll even compose it now. Oh, completely crushing against this kid. Only I could do this. The thing is with Nick is, I've said this to him before, if you're creating this kind of picture in your own mind, this negative picture, and if he was even saying this on Facebook, he's saying, I'm going to do really badly in the tournament. I can already sense. You say you can't go in with that.
Doesn't help. No, yeah, for sure.
You know, I mean, I'm not the best one to talk about negative thoughts and everything, but yeah, I don't think if Black plays well, there's any danger that Black will lose the game. But yeah, I mean, he's got an F5.
Yeah, you think, right? Say he goes, just like say he pushes these things up.
Yeah, no, it's
and then just keep going. It could be a bit scary.
I mean, even Queen F3 and just G4 is another option. You use space gaining. Certainly, I would even argue that Black's not even better anymore. What's the engine evaluation now?
Let's see. Slightly better.
The advantage is
massive. -2 or 3, wasn't it? So it's like yeah.
And what's the times?
The times are not much time for Suprata. Actually, he's only got 9 minutes, and Nick has half an hour still. Let's switch games though now. Shall we go back to the top actually? Let's see how Tivy and Richard, because they were pretty drawish, weren't they, out of the opening? Okay. Oh, now Richard's got an active queen here. I would say they're still material balance. So White has been. I think you were talking about pushing on the queen side for White and getting these pawns forward, which Tivy has done.
Yeah. He's. I mean, I think Black could have gone for that B5 break earlier because I feel that this is. It's not that bad for black, but it's like psychologically uncomfortable, probably. I don't know if it's that bad for black. I mean, whose move is it?
It's
Icon's move, is it?
Yeah, Nick. Sorry, Rich just went Queen E4 here.
Yeah, Richard's a good defender. Like he's solid, but he's got a bad score against people like Mark Adams.
Really, yeah.
Ikonov is in that kind of class, right? He's in that kind of category. Like Queen B7 here feels like a move, maybe. Just annoying. I don't know. It doesn't really threaten anything, but it's just like hard for black to find a move. But maybe that's just a bad strategy.
I would want to play black. Maybe the knight this way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What would you play here as white, Natasha?
Well, no, I hadn't come to that decision yet. What if white continues to we'll push a pawn, A5.
A5, yeah. What does that do, though?
Well, nothing yet, but it's getting this A pawn up the board. And if the knight goes out of the way, then maybe A6 as well. And then if you do get your queen in.
It looks a bit obscure, that A5, right? I'm being a bit cheeky with that comment. I mean, this kind of looks like one of those Dvoretsky puzzles, doesn't it? It looks like one of those kind of deep into the middle game.
Yeah.
Yeah, white came up with an amazing plan, blah, blah, blah. And then you check it all 20 years after the book was written, the computer just...
It's just all confused, yeah.
Just claims it's a load of rubbish. But yeah, actually, the more I look at it, she's not that simple for white. Like, how do you make progress? Because initially I thought he shouldn't have allowed all this. But yeah, I mean, potentially might be some idea of going D5 and sacking a pawn might be another option for white, but I don't know if it really leads anywhere. Like D5, I think CD, and you're covering everything. I don't see a great follow-up for white.
Yeah. And then
you could end up being worse.
C5?
C5, 96.
But you can always wait with this plan, can't he, as well?
What about Queen B7 again? What was
Queen B7, yes.
Was there anything wrong with that move, or was it just a bad move? It probably doesn't threaten anything. That's the problem. But maybe Queen C2 is an option, because if you go Rook C1, I have Queen A4. Yeah, no, maybe I'll just argue I'm already worse. So that's you. Yeah, white has some assets here, like the pawn on C6 is weak, pawn on A7 is potentially weak. Black's pawn structure isn't that great. On the other hand...
And that bishop so far isn't... Well, this diagonal could get good, but...
Yeah. So I think white is potentially going to be better, but he needs to find an accurate sequence. There's also maybe knight D2 as an option. Is knight D2 a move? But then that will move...
Oh, Danny, he's played Queen B7.
Oh, that was my first gut feeling. Yeah, Queen B7.
Yeah, he's done it.
My gut. Always trust your gut. What was wrong with Queen C2? Because Rook C1, Queen A4, and there's maybe the tap. Right? So, Rook C1, Queen A4. Maybe you can go Bishop F4, because that's another idea.
Queen A4, Bishop F4.
Bishop F4, and then Bishop B8. And if you go Queen A5, I'd take on C6. Maybe quite dangerous for black. I mean, you can maybe go something like Queen A3, Queen C6, Knight E6 is one possible plan. But then the bishop would drop back to E3, I think.
What about Knight A6, trying to just swap bishops?
Yeah. True. Nice. But if I take on b8, and if you take with the rook.
I'm gonna take back with the rook. Yes.
But then queen a7.
Oh, I might take back with a knight. I reserve judgment.
Yeah. Yeah, but then d5 maybe.
Queen there. Oh, d5. Yeah.
d5 you take, and then if I take with a can I take with a pawn? We have queen d7 maybe.
Queen d7.
If rook c7, then queen d5. Oh, but then you drop the knight at the end, so I can go rook c7. Queen d5.
Oh, clever, and rook c8 check at the end. So it goes
probably
like this.
technically winning, even though there's limited material left. Or is it? I don't know. Maybe it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
don't want to go into Rich doesn't want to go into this.
No.
No way.
Yeah, queen b7 was a good move. Yeah, that was my first instinct.
It was.
But so what is white? Because the problem with knight e6 is you have d5, right? That's probably what he's intending.
Oh! Just seen the comment from Jude about very nice game from Peter Wells. Shall we check it out? Because he's won again. Well, remember that position?
Guess who predicted that result?
You did. You predicted so it was because we had it like this, right? And we were. Was it like this? We didn't get to this point. We were predicting. Here we go. B5. We were predicting B5, and it turns out it was a mistake.
Well, you said that it might be an option. We didn't necessarily say that it was.
Yeah.
It was the best option because we saw there was some attacking ideas that were quite dangerous for white.
Yeah, and we were going to go knight g5.
Well, that was one option, but we didn't have time to look at knight f6.
No, we did something similar: knight f6 there, and then knight g5.
Yeah. So clearly, we already said g6 was a bad move. You can't go g6. So I said bishop b7.
Yeah.
He went h6. Wow.
He went h6. Then rook d1, intermediate move, attacking rook to the open file.
Even better than taking on f6 first. So this is like
yeah. This is good. And then queen e8, and then you can just take. Oh, and then he did double question mark. Oh God, are we going to get? Wait, let's see it. Checkmate's now unavoidable.
Oh, then there's some kind of rook d8 move.
Here. Rook d8, nice.
Yeah.
So if queen takes, then there's queen f7.
But you get that feeling. Sometimes I saw the position and I just felt like this is PK's cup of tea, right?
Yeah.
And if you look actually through his career, he has had some great quick wins against people. Like he won a game against Shirov very quickly once. And it's funny, Gastinov's been crushed. Like I was crushed against him at Hastings, similar way. I just got absolutely stomped. But do you think that maybe he's partly fatigued that Gastonov played so badly in this game, is unrecognisable, that it's like the 2 round a day thing, and second round there's always a danger you could play. Because it's not very difficult for white to play rook d1.
But the other thing is, right, that b5 that he played, that it looks quite good. To me anyway, it looks quite good.
Yeah.
It just turns out to be.
I watched Blatter play. He said some defensive move, maybe h6 or something. Maybe h6 was a move. If you go back a move, what was the better move? Maybe h6.
They like queen. The computer likes queen c7.
Queen c7, natural move. Hard to play against computers. You're never going to win against computers. Unfortunately, humans make mistakes. Queen c7.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Gasinov, every time I see him play, he seems playing incredibly well, but he's obviously got weaknesses. That's why he's not 2600, 700. And probably the weaknesses is that, not consistent. As we're saying, someone like Mickey Adams, he's very consistent. He doesn't throw in bad games like this.
Yeah.
Like players like myself and Gasinov is, a bit low rated. We will have bad days at the office, or certain positions we won't understand as well. But yeah, it's surprising because I've never seen him play this badly. Actually, all the time he's been in the UK, I've never seen him play. But PK prepared it well and prepared this pawn sack and made him look bad, right? Very nice game.
No, he did well. All right, Wadsworth doesn't look great at all, says Jude. So let's just see.
You mean in
So
the position or just like look-wise?
Position. So do you know Aras Vardanyan?
Nah.
FIDE master Aras Vardanyan against Matthew Wadsworth.
Where's he from? Is he English?
I don't know actually. I'm just going to look it up on the
Presumably he's not. How did Jude get on anyway?
Oh, well, we should know that, shouldn't we?
Oh yeah, we had this quiz question yesterday, Natasha. I don't know if you get this one. Which city in the world has the most UNESCO World Heritage sites? One of my followers seemed to have Googled the answer, but claims to have known it.
Which city?
I'm only kidding.
Right, I'm multitasking here. Wait.
Sorry,
First of all, is Jude? Which board is Jude on? Oh goodness, there's a lot of boards.
Yeah. Look, Jude has just got like sponsorship to play test tournaments, which is.
I saw that. I saw it on Twitter. Well done, congratulations, Jude. That's fantastic. Play lots of nice things that will be very exciting.
It is realistic. It's very, even for a GM like myself, it's actually very expensive to play a lot of tournaments now. I can't afford to play a lot of tournaments. A lot of tournaments abroad. You know, you're not getting great conditions as a 2,500 GM. For example, as a tournament in Portugal, I've considered playing last year, but it would have cost me 1,500 quid to play in it. I worked out, and I thought, well, first prize is like €3,000. What's the point of even playing? You know, like, yeah, and I know it's a nice place and everything, but you also got to think about making some money.
Yeah. Okay, Aras Vardanyan, FIDE master from Lithuania, born 2001.
Right. Yeah. And whose move is it?
The yellow thing's the last move Matthew just played A takes B4.
Right.
Oh, so it's White's move.
Yeah, this seems quite nice for White. Strategically speaking.
But Jude's not playing. Jude's not in the tournament. We've been looking for quite a while.
Yeah, get confused. Yeah. I was asking how he's getting on, and he's not even playing. F5 might be a move for White. It just break down his make D5 weakness. Might not play immediately, but
interesting. Yeah, you could almost play it immediately, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Or can you do a Nigel short king march and then play it? Whoops, I've played it now by mistake.
Yeah, King G4. You're right, Natasha. Maybe you shouldn't go in too early because she does Rook F5. I suddenly realised, and so you can't even win D5 back directly. But you could go F5, Rook F5, Rook F5, EF5, Rook E5. And if Rook D6, Rook F5, and White's still
something like this, like that, and then Rook E5.
But then Rook D6, Rook F5,
and
yeah, but it's maybe not so great. There's also ideas Black might take on C3 at some point, or even a move earlier, maybe take on, and then C3 might be weak.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matthew's one of these younger players like Jonah Willow. You know, he's kind of in that category like Brandon Clark, Marcus Harvey, who are trying to become. Yeah, they're very good players, and they're trying to become GM. Yeah, and they're close to it, but it's difficult to get over the line now. Harry Grieve actually is. I think Harry's probably a little bit closer than a few of them. But they're trying to become GM, but like probably a few years ago they would have done. But now with all this deflation, it's tough for the younger players as well because they're often playing players even younger than themselves.
Yeah.
And when I became a GM, which was like mid 2000s, like 2005, a lot of the players that I beat were actually older than me, like people like Draev and If I had to do it now, I think I'd have had no chance because I've never had a great score against junior players anyway. And at almost every tournament, you're playing like younger junior players who are like super confident, and it's quite a harrowing experience. So yeah, I kind of feel a little bit of pity for people like Matthew who are trying to make their way in the world, and this is kind of junior hell.
Yes. So what we need is all the old GMs to keep playing. That will help.
Yeah. I mean, I get like invites occasionally because they're like, yeah, this kind of overrated GM. It's like everyone's just going to bash up and get their norms. That's kind of. But yeah, I mean, PK is possibly in that category as well. He's kind of a bit older now, and yeah. I mean, he's still capable, as you saw today.
Yeah. So Aras did play F5, and yeah. So I kind of feel like it'll all liquidate a bit. Yeah.
Oh, you think this is heading for a draw?
I do. Do you not?
What's the pawn count? Is equal pawns, is it?
White's got one. I thought White had one more on the
Yeah,
king.
you're right. So White should be better. He's gone F5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a logical move. So Rook F5. I guess, yeah, he's probably going to go for this line, but I think you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, you could try taking on B4, or does that not head anywhere? Doesn't look right though.
Oh, take here.
It doesn't look right to do that.
We've got lots of pawn islands here.
Yeah, I mean even King F7 might be possible because although there's Rook E5 maybe. Yeah, it kind of feels Rook E5. I got Rook B6. That kind of feels drawish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go. This is what was played. He didn't take. He went king here first.
There's a few players playing in Reykjavik.
Yeah.
Quite soon as well. Apparently, that's coming up quite soon.
Let's quickly see how Shreyas won, because we left it when he had a really nice position. We were somewhere around here, weren't we?
Yeah.
These computer engines give everything question marks, but we don't need to worry too much. Queen C5. Rook E1. Bringing everything in. B5. Bishop B3. Bishop B7. And then we saw this here.
Yeah.
And Queen F6 we saw, didn't we? Queen F7 and then takes, and then the.
Yeah, this is just. I mean, you can resign already.
Game over. That's game over. Yeah, and in fact, he did.
Yeah, it's simple. It's a very simple win. Very simple win. That's what you want. Round 2, quick win, and then he's going to be up there again, which is interesting. Yeah, but I think he'll close out one of these tournaments fairly soon. Actually, I think he'll win a big tournament. That could be his big breakthrough. Because he's done everything else. He's been up there. He was up there in Hastings.
Yeah, and Classic he did well, didn't he?
Yeah, and it's only a matter of time before he breaks through and wins a big one.
Okay, we're going back to Borna against Daniel. And so it was a slightly unusual French defense. And now it looks... Okay, so White's trying to attack on the king side, and Black's brought this queen in.
Yeah.
So can you just take on E6?
Yeah. But then maybe knight takes. Can you give up F7? Good point. Maybe the idea is D4. Like Rook F7, D4.
D4 now.
Although there is rook e7 check and then bishop g5.
Oh, picking up the queen.
Yeah.
Connected queens. Yes. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so you can't go d4.
Well,
but this is just good for white, right? Or am I getting too excited? Oh, I suppose actually, but you could go like knight g5, could you? Oh, no. Same trick.
But then king d8 maybe.
Oh, it's
Oh, but
complicated.
then bishop b6. Yeah, you win the queen. Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah, you definitely can't do that. But I feel like, again, we're probably missing something fairly obvious. Because also when you took on e6, maybe I could go d4 there, right?
So let's say you go d4. But this one's check.
Yeah, that does look very ropey. Also, I could go rook f7 and hit c7 as another option. Although you could take on e3 with a pawn, rook c7, and then go e. No, you can't go e2. So after rook c7, kind of feels good for white, right?
You need to get the queen in.
Yeah, queen h4 might be a threat. Might be a deadly threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know this for black. I don't think you can do this. So how was this again? So you took?
This is the position.
Right.
And so if we take.
Yeah, again, like I said before, like you look for checks and captures, right? Or maybe I'm talking about a YouTube video I filmed earlier. Check out my YouTube channel, by the way, guys. If you haven't subscribed already, I've got a YouTube channel.
Yes, it's nice, Danny. Everybody subscribe to Danny's YouTube. Watch the
Flag
video.
everyone off and call it.
I tell you, I did watch one of your videos.
Oh, you did? Did you? Yeah. Which one was it?
I watched your video about being a chessful author.
Yeah, a lot of people watch that. A lot of people like that. Yeah.
That was fun.
And yeah. And I was just talking about it. It's funny enough, actually. I was chatting to a guy earlier on emails, the CEO of Chessable, this guy called Gert. And so, yeah, I've got a kind of long history with Chessable, but it's not as easy as you think because obviously it's very competitive. Yeah, I think you would probably tab out the pawn. The more it's like process elimination. The more you look at knight e6 and rook takes, unless you see something very good there, you realise it's not very good.
What about queen f3?
Yeah, good move. But queen g6, maybe just defend. Still, a little bit passive for black. And, what's the back a pawn up maybe here, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's even moves like maybe I could even just go queen f7 and go really direct there. Queen f7 at the end there. So we could have carried that on, Natasha.
Queen f7 here.
Yeah, and then I take and tab out the rook.
And we're going to win back the pawn at the least.
Yeah.
And having a rook on the 7th is a nice thing.
Very nice. So
is it so good for white? Am I allowed to use that? Can I just?
No. I think he's got rook b1. Oh, no. Hang on. How did he allow that?
Oh no! Because
it wasn't white's move.
He didn't play fe6. Now I'm going to check what the best move is here. No, it's all drawn. How can it all be drawn? That's impossible.
What was happening after takes? You just go through that. What was the computer suggesting?
Yeah, knight takes, and then shall we just do it? So
take.
Yeah. Knight takes.
Yeah, but it's probably defensive resources. Maybe queen g6 after rook f7 or rook f8 or something. There's probably some computer always finds some kind of resource.
Rook f7.
It looks scary.
Oh, and they go rook b3. Look at this.
Oh yeah. That was another one. Now you don't have this rook e7 idea.
Don't have any tricks with the connected queens anymore.
Yeah. Because I think we would have found that if we'd have spent a bit more time analysing that, right?
It's not it's a nice one. It's a nice one. Yeah. So instead, they went. This is the main line now.
Right.
So they went rook f3.
And he went bishop b6. Brilliant move.
So rook f3, rook b1, and then bishop b6.
Oh. Wow. Clever.
Yes.
The idea is that maybe they force the queens off, like rook f1, queen f1, and then but yeah, objectively that should be drawn, but maybe black would go. Yeah, a tricky play. Daniel's a very tricky player.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, my prediction earlier was that Wells would win and that Daniel would win. So I'm
yes,
hoping
yes,
to get
yes,
double
yes.
up.
You're halfway there.
I know,
Yeah.
but I also said Richard would draw. Like, how's Richard? We need to check on Richard.
Richard Pert. Here. So
He's actually the drawish position, right?
So it was Queen B7. It all happened, like we said. Queen C2.
We get a treble up here.
Queen takes A4.
Yeah.
D5.
Right.
CD. Knight D4. And this is it. This is
tricky
where we
play, though. Tricky. Yeah, it's easy to underestimate these super GMs, and they will also be cynical and play for tricks.
Okay, there's a crowd request for Mickey. So let's see Mickey.
Like a jukebox. You should just ignore them, Natasha. Say like, I don't care what.
I only notice it when I want to see it myself as well.
Oh well, there you go.
Okay, but where is it? It's near here, isn't it?
Somebody said they played in Wimbledon. What do you mean Wimbledon? What the Wimbledon tennis tournament?
I'm not sure they mean tennis. Here we go.
Chess.
All right, here we go. So now I should turn the engine off. It gives it away too much. So it was kind of
yeah. But he's done a much better job than I would have done, because I said before, I find his tube player very tricky, very annoying player to play.
Yeah. So we were somewhere around here, I think, weren't we?
Yeah, let's see how he did it.
Let's just see how Mickey took it from here.
Can I also make a prediction? I think Adams will win this tournament again, because he started with a draw.
Yeah.
And he last year, and he ran away with it, and I think he's going to win the tournament again.
I wouldn't bet on any individual player ahead of Adams.
No.
But I could imagine Adams not winning, because there's so many people that could win it, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, but he always seems to win these tournaments, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like it's slightly different, because you got people like Tiviakov in it, who's kind of an unknown quantity. It's not like all the English tournaments. People say, "Oh, Mickey might win the British." He's always going to win it, right? Because he's just by far the best player, right? And he always wins it every time he's in it. So it's like, until somebody beats him, I don't think you can really predict anybody else. But yeah, all this, just slowly coming forward on the king side. King G3, tucking the king away, very patient, and then going to advance. Yeah, rook E1. It's just, and the problem is that C7 is a big weakness. So it ties the rook down. Could black go C6? Is it black's move here?
Well, black went B5, but yeah. So
what was the engine saying after C6, Sasha? How bad was it? Or even B6. It doesn't look that bad.
Oh, the engine likes H5.
Oh, it probably feels that if black goes H4, H5, then you'd need to do something on the king side and not just wait. But now it's not necessarily that bad for black. It's still unpleasant though. Yeah, it's already. White's got a really compact kind of fighting force. All the pieces link really well together. That's one of the things I noticed with Adams' games. He's very good. The Karpel's very good at that. He group all the pieces together, and it'll all combine very well together. It's one of the things that you notice in positional players.
Yeah, and that one's kind of making this one defend it. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, it's on the night there. That's why I thought about B6, but maybe B6 was too slow. Like, what was wrong with B6? What was it? Oh, maybe rook A1.
No, B6 was okay. B6 wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
So B6 was the second choice.
So B5, very, very forcing, right? So B5.
B5.
But already the engine hates that. It doesn't like
he took.
So he's going for very forcing plays, trying to hoover off the queen side, which, to be fair, has got some merit to it, because if you hoover off the queen side, then the theory is, so why is this so bad? Why is the computer saying this is so bad?
Yeah, what are we doing? Because b3's attacked twice.
Because it actually looks quite logical what he's done. I think the whole idea is you're now gaining a very strong attack with bishop d6, rook e7.
Yeah.
And you're actually getting attacked in the endgame, which is fascinating. So bishop b3, you're going to go bishop d6 and rook e7. So this is what I was saying about you combining your...
Amazing, it's as strong as it is, isn't it? Because it looks to me like, oh yeah.
Yeah, because superficially you could look at this and say, oh, it's okay for black. You know, you're basically 3-2 down the king's side. We all know that's a draw. Like, but it's not a draw because basically white's got a big attack in the endgame. Yeah. Fascinating, yeah.
Vic says, I think black just got very impatient. Yeah, because you could just try and defend here like that, couldn't you?
Yeah, I think that indie kid, he's somebody who's quite promising, but he does get short of time. I've noticed in his games, he does get short. He gives you chances because he's a bit of a, he's a bit of a thinker.
Yeah.
So he likes to go in deep with the positions, but obviously the drawback is you then, you're playing with someone like Michael Adams is a very practical player. He's just going to play quickly and confidently. And he's not going to, he's not going to blunder. He's not going to give you any counter chances. We've seen in this game, he's controlled the game very well, right? Right, rook e7.
He's gonna do this, isn't he, for sure? And then
rook e7, and then after king g8,
now stuck on the back rank.
You're almost losing material by force with g5. Maybe g5 is winning material.
G5.
No, g5 is knight d5, is it? Knight d5, but no, you get mated, rook e8 and rook f8, so it's just game over.
Oh god, it is mating too, isn't it? Just incredible. Go here and there.
Incredible.
Yeah.
You see, Adams would have studied these lines, and he would have known that you can get an attack in fact, I think I've seen these kind of systems before, and they've been played out at the highest level. And someone like a really top defender, like an MVL or plays the Berlin, like a Nakamura, like a Caruana, would have probably gone h5 and would have probably held Mickey. But black didn't do that, and now he's going to lose.
Yes. Now let's have a quick look at the people. So, lots of the games are finished now.
Well, it's cleared out now. Yeah. That's
the meat, and it's Ayan.
That kid, Ismail.
Yeah.
Face mask.
Yes. He's improved a lot, hasn't he, over the last few years?
Yeah. He did well in an online tournament.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of controversy.
Let's quickly look in on him and Amit.
Right. Yeah. How's Amit? Because Amit had a shocking loss in round one. Amit's been doing really well of late.
Yeah. So
the guy played very well. I played through that game, and the guy played very well. Like he won on merit.
Yeah. It might be those games aren't. There's a few games that don't make the live board.
Right. I suspect he'll win because he's on 0 out of 1, so he probably will win that game.
Yeah. Shout out to Rakaya. She's just won her game. So
who's that?
Rakaya Reader. Do you know her?
No.
She's a very strong player from Essex.
Right.
Yeah.
How old is she?
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
adult or junior? Or...
Junior, like 13 maybe. I don't. I could be several years wrong with that estimate.
Oh well, so she's playing in tournament as well.
Yeah, she's and she's very enthusiastic as well. It's very nice.
Right.
So let's see how she just finished it off. So she's gone Queen F7, looking for a back rank mate. King G1, Rook G6, Queen takes E5, And we must get... Oh, look, this is nice, Danny.
Oh, is this some kind of rook g2 move?
It's a rook g2 move. Takes.
Oh, wow.
E3. I thought she was going to take.
Oh, because
this is even stronger.
Then maybe the king gets a bit more space.
She played for mate here.
Oh, then g5 is always an option.
And
so the computer says that you have to give out the queen because it doesn't like getting. Computer doesn't like getting checkmated, so it says.
Yeah. So she just played rook c8. Really nice. Really nice.
Bishop c8.
Bishop c8 even. Yes.
Yeah, that's
really because good. Then g5 follows. But she did that attack really well. Very good.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, Norman Hutchinson. That's kind of like a blast from the past, I think.
Ah, nice. Amit won on board 14. Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Born in 2012. Which makes her... Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's kind of saying...
Born in 1946. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Bit of a clash of the generations, right?
You won't have known what hit him with rook g2, probably.
Yeah, he's probably moaning. He's probably in the bar now, moaning to his mates about how... He's like doing a Gormally type moan about how does Timothy Jr. is now in chess.
All right, let's check in on Hebs. He is pawn up in the endgame.
So her opponent was born 1 year after my dad was born, 1946. That's a year after the Second World War ended.
Yes. Yes.
So Hebden is white. It's actually, he's not even winning, right? He's playing Rafe Martin. He's quite a good player.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Heb he's quite good technically. I mean, I've lost to Hebden in similar kind of positions. He'll just keep grinding away. But the problem is, White has is you can't really get the king. The king's cut off. I mean, the king was in a better spot, then you'd have good chances to win.
I want to be red. You can't go that way. Yeah.
So the danger is that black will be able to exchange off at least a pawn. Like if you go rook c3, rook c5, rook c3, I don't think you could win the game without your king.
No. Right, I see. So here.
So my plan is to bring the rook to d3, so at least bring the king over. But it's a very slow plan.
Yes.
And black has several ways of playing here. So, for example, you could just go king f6, probably. Yeah. And then maybe after rook c3, just go e5 and just... Yeah, it looks very drawish.
It's going to need black to make a mistake, isn't it?
Well, there is rook c6 there, and maybe you could go rook c5 at the end. But I find it hard to believe he'll win this. Probably going to be a draw.
Okay. Nina has won.
Oh, good. Who was he playing?
She was playing Anna Blauhut.
No.
Okay. Any that you want to? Oh, let's drop in on Ayan.
I think we should maybe stick with that Richard Pert game because that's quite an important game, isn't it? Maybe we should just go back and stick with that game and see if there's any.
Yes. Should we just quickly?
Yeah. Who's this? Sorry.
This is Ayan, who we just saw on the
Ismail, you mean?
Yeah.
Ismail, yeah. Is it? I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, but yeah.
I think I asked his dad, and I think we call him Ayan.
Who's he playing against? Oh, Benjamin Simpson.
Yeah.
Ah, right. Yeah. It's not a player I'm familiar with.
So bishop pair, but quite a blocked position in a way.
Yeah,
it's not too bad for the knight.
Again, yeah. The white has practical chances, yeah. I'll just look at that Richard Pert game.
Oh, yeah, we will. But just one more. We're going to go there in a moment. But just go back to Supratit because we were interested in that one.
Yeah. I think he's what I mean. He shows you, Natasha, that I mean maybe I take this for granted, but I think I would have wrapped that game up with black. I certainly would have put white under a lot more pressure. He's not done a good job here at all. So actually, could you get? I mean, considering that we think this is a drawish now, can we go back to a position where white was a lot better earlier? Potentially, and maybe consider where he made a mistake and why that was a mistake. Because the position where we first picked it up, what black was pretty.
Black was definitely worse. Black was better here, wasn't he?
Well, black was winning when we first started looking
Yeah,
at it, didn't we?
which was about here, I think.
A little bit further on, he was winning. So where did he start to mess it up, and how could he have done it better? Yeah, rook a8 was quite bad, actually. No, it was around about here, right? h4. Yeah. So he went knight f8, that's fine.
I think you're wanting, I think it was a plan with queen f5, wasn't it? And
well, that was one plan, but I don't think there was necessarily forced. There were other ways to. I think what he did was initially was fine. Like when queen e7, the computer was saying that was fine. Oh, king h2, right? So he could even just go f5 with the idea knight d7, knight f6. When you get a knight to f6, it's just.
Oh yeah.
You know, I always think about how can you got a great position. How can you improve it even more? Like he's taken on a3. Was that quite a bad move?
Let's see.
Yeah, it's a bad move. Why are you taking that pawn? Like what?
You can save that till later, can't you? And just if you get this knight.
Such a bad move. Just go f5. Yeah. Okay, but even if you don't find f5, if you go like queen d7 or queen e4, just queen e4 is like a simple move. And this is horrible for white.
Yeah. So keep the active pieces as opposed to going for the material.
Nick will just come up with an amazing, but he's moaning about the fact that he's messing up these winning positions. Now, what does that tell you, Natasha?
That he gets winning positions.
That he gets positions, but he's also messing them up. So what does that tell you that he needs to do?
Sometimes people. Sometimes I play a little bit too defensively when I get to the winning position, and you just have to keep playing your normal game, don't you? Not get nervous. Sometimes you get nervous.
Yeah, but also I think he needs to work on just work on his technique. You know, like how is he? You know, there's no point moaning about it on Facebook. Oh, I keep messing up these winning positions. You know, like work on your technique. You know, like work on why you're going wrong. You know, do it constructively. If you're going to moan about it, that's not constructive. You're not going to get any better. You're just going to keep moaning. So you work on your technique, and you know, when I talked about this book earlier, you know, that I was trying to plug, and I talked a lot about technique. And one of the things I noticed with, you know, well, I said like Mickey Adams has got great technique. That he's very, very good at just controlling the game. You know, when I look at games of Magnus Carlsen, he's just keeping the control of the position. He's not going off and grabbing a random pawn.
Yeah.
You know, he's keeping control of the position, improving his position. He's got a good position, improve it even more with f5, knight d7, knight f6, to where you got a completely overwhelming position. And then you grab a pawn when you're so in control that white has no counter.
Now, what do you reckon?
What's this?
This is, you wanted to see Tivy against Richpert.
Ah, right.
And so there's been a piece for 3 pawns exchanged.
It feels drawish though, right? Because there's so many pawns, it's just hard to believe. Even with Tivy Icon, it'd be amazing if he could pull this off. But it just feels kind of drawish, just the lack of the pawns. But the engine is saying that it's +1.
Do you know, Danny, how to mate with bishop and knight against king?
Well, you know, it's funny you should say that, because I mentioned that in the book. I mentioned that I didn't know how to mate with bishop and knight. It's actually quite a trickier mate than you know. Even though I'm a GM, I never learnt it.
Yeah.
And so recently I went over it, and what you can do is you can set it up in lead chess.
Yeah.
Position and train it. And I started training it, and I got addicted to doing it. You know, because
my son used to, he only got to, I don't know, not a strong player, but he used to, whenever he was playing against the computer, he always promoted to a bishop and a knight, and then just mated it with a bishop and knight at the end. He was playing on like
sorry?
My son Oscar,
Oh yeah. It's quite like a satisfying make to do, isn't it?
It's quite fun once you know how to do it. It's not as hard as all that once you know how, which I don't know whether I still do. I certainly used to know how with your W in the cage and all this kind of stuff. But I had to learn it because I had to I had an adjournment and I had a bishop and a knight against a pawn. So I had to learn it. I must have told you this story before about
No,
Dave.
I don't think you have.
No? Oh, so all right. Well, I'm going to inflict it on everyone again. So we were in the World Juniors in Chile, and Dave Norwood was my team captain. And I got to this adjournment. You know, they used to have adjournments in those days, and so we kind of sealed the move. And then Dave's like, "How can you possibly be playing for England and not know how to mate with a bishop and knight? You don't know how to do it, do you?" And I'm like,
what do you said to me?
Like Dave, he's normally, you know, supportive captain. So I was like, what, hang on, there's something funny here. And then it was, hang on a minute, you don't actually know how to do it either, do you? And he didn't. So we had to get the, I can't remember which team it was, to teach us how to do it. So we learned how to do it. But then Dave did the proper captain thing. So my opponent, she was very attractive Danish girl, and Dave took her out and then persuaded her to resign without resumption.
Yeah.
So I never had to actually play it, but I did learn.
So what was going to say? So apparently White made a mistake actually at some point in this ending. On move 38, Natasha.
Oh.
It's not kind of an obscure one, but apparently it was better to play something other than knight b4. Knight b4 was some kind of mistake. So you could have gone king g3, which was quite a big. Computer on a higher depth says that's winning king g3.
Okay.
You know, like the Magnus trick of just activating the king as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
You know, but he wants to set up this knight b4, knight c2 blockade. The problem is it's now once you've moved the knight away from c6, it's very easy for black to activate his own king. So, I mean, I think...
I see. So leave it there. Nothing bad's happening right yet. Get your king out and then set it up at the last.
One thing I'm surprised at, Tiviakov is only rated 25-34. And that's quite a low rating, actually. Again, shows... So he must have been playing actually quite a lot because... you know, you go back a few years and he was comfortably over 2600. He's been over 2700.
Yeah, he's well strong.
And now he's dipped to 25-30. I mean, okay, he's obviously older now as well. I think he's similar age to me, actually.
Yeah,
so very old, basically. But yeah, he's it goes quite late because it's already like 8:30, isn't it? And it's quite a long day, and they're still playing.
Yeah, we're going to wind up pretty soon, I think, Danny.
Yeah,
but
I need some food as well, you know.
Yeah. King f8. So he is getting his king in now. But is it too late?
Yeah, it feels like Richard's going to hold this. Maybe not win, but I feel like it's most likely going to be a draw. They could obviously go more like, I mean, they're getting shorter time, right?
Yeah,
2 minutes. No extra time.
Whoa.
Did they get any extra time? They don't get any extra time, I presume.
I think there's an increment, but no more added time.
Yeah, so there's going to be more mistakes. I mean, is it even a possibility of black could win this position?
That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
It's not very likely, I don't think, but yeah, I mean, white should be able to bow out, but I think it would feel like Tiviakov will keep trying to win because it's Tiviakov and he's playing Richard Pert. He'll probably just think Richard's a patzer. Like,
right. So he's setting up some kind of.
But can you go?
He's trying to swap that knight off, right?
But even if you swap, is that actually winning? Maybe that's winning.
Let's see. So if you swap, I'm just going to do it.
Bishop takes. It's actually a bad idea, to swap.
Because all black needs to do is swap off these two somehow.
How's Fernandez getting on, by the way? Because I could be on for a treble here. Because I said Richard Pert draw.
Yeah.
Which is looking likely. How's Fernandez?
Yes, he bought two. Yeah. Oh,
Oh, it looks like I'm on for a treble because I said Fernandez win, which he's now winning. So obviously Borna's messed it up. And so if Richard holds for the draw,
this is one of the. Did you ever hear centre pawns are good and rook and pawn endings? Centre pawns are good. I'm sure I heard it somewhere, but then I said that to a strong player, and they said, "Well, what are you talking about?"
No, well, the centre pawns are good anywhere, everywhere.
Yeah,
but
like king and pawn endings, you want the outside pass pawns, and then rook and pawn endings, I heard you want the centre pawns.
But I had a similar ending last year in Ghent. Actually, Daniel was playing that, so I lost him in that tournament. But I think we finished tied on points anyway, so I'll get that one in. But I played this guy later in the tournament. It was 2400. Sim Maveraway from Belgium, and quite a young guy as well. And I got a similar ending where it wasn't quite as good as version as this. I was winning, and I messed it up and nearly lost actually. Yeah, this looks hopeless. It's just so easy for black to play as well, right?
Going to get rook on the 7th, and
yeah, I mean you're threatening like rook checks, and then simple win. So obviously White must have messed it up earlier because we did say when we left it was.
Yeah. But I'm asking you for coaching, Danny.
Sorry.
Someone in the chat wants coaching from you.
Yeah. I mean, I charge. I tell you now, I charge £50 an hour. So if you want some coaching,
message Danny.
Send me some money. Send me some money.
But have you got a way of it? Can he or she contact you?
Yeah, my email is danielgormally@msn.com. Okay. So please contact me on there, and my coaching tends to be pretty good. Even if you only get 1 or 2 lessons, you're gonna probably improve a lot. But do you think playing bullet will improve my game? Joke was one of the comments. Yeah, I mean, I was playing bullet earlier, and I do think one of the things I realise now, Natasha, that when I play a lot of tournaments, I'm too rusty going in.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to play every single day because if you're like a runner, or you're a tennis player, or you're a golfer, you're going to train every single day, right?
Yeah.
You know, and with chess, somehow we assume that we don't need to.
I tell you, definitely. If I'm playing a big tournament and I do Puzzle Rush for a week every single day beforehand, so that can take like an hour or 2. But if I do that every day beforehand, I do so much better. Just like that, Puzzle Rush on chess.com.
I do a lot of Puzzle Rush. What's your best score on Puzzle Rush?
My best score? Oh, quite high. I don't know, 60.
No. I mean, of course.
I don't do the timed one. I do this.
Oh, if you don't, that's the cheating. That's the slow one. That's the cheating.
I do the slow one. I like the slow one.
Yeah. It can be beneficial, and puzzles as well. Train your calculation. On the other hand, I would say that when I do a lot of speed Puzzle Rush, which is quite superficial, and that is actually quite addictive. And it's also, it makes your chess superficial. If you play a lot of blitz, bear in mind, if you play a lot of blitz, bullet and stuff, it can make your chess superficial, which can potentially harm your classical results, I think.
I do it with someone like a similar strength to me and just do it and discuss each move. And that, I think, because then if there's 2 of you doing it, then you force the other person to actually really go to the end of the line and really work it out. And so that's quite a good discipline. Whereas when I do it on my own, I kind of, when it takes too long, I just guess the answer.
You get bored, don't you? You sit there and you're like, after a while, your brain starts to turn to mush. You're staring at the screen. You're like, I don't really care anymore. I mean, the thing about it is, I read in Mick Adams' book about the falsification technique.
Yeah.
A lot of ways you try these puzzles is trying to falsify them to try and see. You see a move, a variation, and you try and see what's wrong with it. But actually, a lot of the time, you just can't calculate well enough, or it starts getting confused in your mind. So you end up just going, "Oh, that looks good enough," or try that move, right? So finding the balance. But I played this guy Daniel Dorada the other day. He was a very good player from Belgium. 2600.
Daniel Dorada.
Yeah, and apparently he does 100 Lee chess puzzles every single day.
Oh wow, That'll help.
Which is, and they're quite tough puzzles as well when you get a high rating. So that's one way to train your calculation.
Yeah. All right. So we think black's going to win here. So we'll just see, are you going to get the hat trick? Let's go back to that one. And it's unclear so far.
Richard's actually short of time, and he's now saying he's worse.
Okay.
But I'd be honest, I would find it difficult playing white's position, because you feel like you feel uncomfortable here, Natasha, right? Because any moment, if your pawns on the king side got exchanged, you're not going to win the game.
Yeah.
But Tiviakov is like a really impressive technical. All these Russian guys are like, I know he's not Russian now, but he was Russian. He trained in a Russian school of chess. They're all very good technically. And actually, this endgame reminds me of one that Garry Kasparov once had against Jurayev. That he won in something like the early 2000s, I think, and it was in or mid 2000. It was in something like 2004.
Okay.
In a Moscow variation of the semi-Slav, and Kasparov won in kind of study-like fashion with a kind of similar kind of configuration, but a slightly better version of this ending, because this is technically his draw. The Indian's saying it's a draw, but he's got 20 seconds left, and he'll be really nervous.
Yeah.
They'll both be really nervous, right? And how do you play as black? Like knight b5 is the best move. He'll be calculating moves like f3, like forcing moves like f3. You want to force the issue. He's gone f3, which apparently is a big blunder. Now you go knight c3.
Because of the intermediate knight c3 check.
So maybe he's only calculated g4 immediately.
Yeah.
But g4 apparently is bad. If you go knight c3 and then push the pawn,
knight c3, he's done straight away.
And then you're much, much better. So f3 is a howler by Richard. He's trying to ruin my treble. It's still a lot of work for white. It's still a lot of work. Like, no, it's winning now because you just go. Yeah, did he play king c5, right?
He's gone king e6.
But now you just go g3 and then you take on a4 and you're making serious progress.
Yeah.
And it probably will win the game now, because if you take the pawn and then if you can somehow eliminate that c pawn and start marching forward your king, it should be a fairly. Maybe he wants to go like f5 and then try and like go g4 and f4 if he.
Yeah.
It's still got some chances of making a draw, I would say.
He's gone f5. He's doing all your moves.
So his idea is either to go f4 or maybe to go g4 and then try and go f. But if knight a4 now, where do you actually technically put the knight? Like knight e2?
Knight a4. He's done it. Yeah, okay. So this knight's on.
Yeah, maybe knight e2 he'll try. Like, actually, where do you put the knight?
Yeah, he just wants to get rid of all these kingside pawns, but he still has to be careful of the bishop and knight, mate. We might. Who is asking for V? How do you say that? Vix. Vix wants to see a knight and a bishop, mate.
Yeah, maybe knight e2, Natasha. Yeah, I'll be falling asleep at the border. Like you just played for like 8 hours.
Any tips, Danny? Southern Chris has a simul against Tivy next week. How would you play against Tivy in a simul?
Badly. if I was playing a simul against Tivy,
so we're all going to recommend our own chessable courses, and our own books. I'm going to recommend mine now. You've been doing so many plugs today, Danny. I'm going to do one.
Yeah, I recommend your one.
Exhibition Zoom about intermediate moves. It's really good.
Oh, yeah. But didn't you do Game Change as well, Matthew?
And Game Changer. Get Game Changer and get Chess for Life. There's 3.
If I had to recommend a chessable course, I'd probably recommend, I think Peter Fiddler's one on the Groomfield is very good. Obviously, feel free to buy mine. Mine aren't bad either. But I think Peter Fiddler's one on the Groomfield. I was looking through the free course. I think the free course was very good. Kramnik's done some courses. Maybe you should do a course on cheating. Like
He accuse Richard Pert of cheating? Didn't Kramnik accuse?
Oh, that was where it's all, funny enough. That was where it's all. It was very funny actually. It was like, yeah, it's quite an interesting story because he played Richard in a Title Tuesday.
A Title Tuesday, yeah.
And Richard wiped him out. Richard was black, and he played like this gambit line where you play this early, like something like D4, D5, C4, E6, knight, C3, C5. Right, he just wiped Kramnik off the board. He just starts rushing his kingside pawns, but it's kind of straightforward stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then later in the tournament, he also beat Grischuk.
Yeah.
And then Kramnik, after the tournament, he made some ironic post about, and he was thanking all these people he felt were suspicious. And at the end, he says, "And particular congratulations to I am Richard Pert, playing at this incredible level. I don't know how you do it." Very sarcastic, right?
I know.
He didn't actually accuse him, but essentially implied it.
Yeah.
That he was cheating. And this is where I think a lot of his Kramnik paranoia started now, because obviously. And then what Richard was telling me was that apparently Kramnik was then, Richard was then put on the Zoom call the following week.
Okay. Yeah.
And he said he performed much worse.
No. Yeah.
So he had to play the whole Title Tuesday on a Zoom call. So sometimes they asked you to play on a Zoom call 1 or 2 games. You had to play an entire Title Tuesday on a Zoom call, which must be quite depressing.
No. Yeah, there was there was. Do you know David Sands?
Yeah, I know David Sands.
20 years ago, we played in this European Club Cup, and Sands was playing Karlov. You know Karlov, the Russian guy. And,
yeah.
And Sands was playing this.
Karlov, maybe Rustam Karlov or Boris Karlov.
Begin A Karlov, Andre or
Andre Karlov. That's it. Yeah, Andre.
Yeah. And so David Sands was getting very excited because he was playing right down this theory line that he knew, which had a sack in it, and Rook B1 Grunfeld or something. Yeah. I know the other guy was sacking, and David Sands didn't know it as well.
I know David Sands, nice guy actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and he thought he'd won material, so he kept getting up away from the board and getting really excited. Yeah, and then
won material.
And Karlov thought Sands was cheating. He accused him of cheating, and of course Sands wasn't. Yeah, and but he wouldn't sit at the board, so he wasn't helping.
He's slightly on the spectrum.
Sit down, just sit at the board. Yeah. Anyway, so then Karlov complains to the arbiter, and hi, Chris Baker, I am Chris W. Baker, I am. So Karlov complains to the arbiter, so Sands is told to sit at the board and not get up again. Sands does it, and then immediately after that he blunders. So Karlov's like, "Well, this proves it. The guy's obviously been cheating." And he refused to shake Sands' hand. And then poor David after the game was like, "Well, why is this guy not shaking my hand?"
He sounds a little bit like an arsehole, basically. I mean,
it was just like, yeah, I mean, he shouldn't have kept getting up because it did look really bad. But like when
getting up and actually going anywhere.
Well, yeah. I think he went to the loo because he was and then he was hopping around and chatting to me and all this sort of stuff. And in those days, it's a different chess was different that many of years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's slightly on the spectrum, right, David? Yeah, would that be fair to say?
I don't know, and it's not one for a commentary.
Autism or whatever, but nice guy actually. But
very nice.
Yeah, I mentioned how I played this Russian IM a few years ago, or quite a while ago, in a tournament, weekender in England, and he kept jumping up. So he crushed me in 17 moves. He kept jumping up after every move and then rushing off. And I thought he was like, because he's some kind of businessman, he was going off with like the phone, he was giving that impression he was going off to phone a client. Obviously, you shouldn't be using your phone during the game anyway.
Yeah,
but that's what I thought at the time. And now when I thought about it later, I regretted not complaining about it, because he crushed me in like 17 moves playing perfect chess. And the more you think about it, actually, it's like Occam's razor, right? The most obvious explanation is the correct one, which is that Tiviakov's winning now. By the way, is completely
yeah.
Completely. This is the problem. Like, Richard played a great game.
Yeah.
He will probably tell me later that he just felt really tired at the end of the game, and he was probably like physically falling asleep at the board. He's gone F4 though. Is that a good try? Maybe Tiviakov's blundered F4, but is there Bishop H4?
Can you just take it?
But then G3.
And then take that as well.
Oh, you take that as well, right? And F2,
And
you
your king
go
can stop
king
it.
E2.
Yeah.
So his idea is king E4. He wants to go king E4, but you can go bishop H4, and then king takes, and then king C3, and then you can resign because you'll eventually lose G4 pawn.
Yeah. I think I had this game in London League against Rich Pert, and it was like, I can't remember what was happening during the game, but anyway, at the end, and I got it to this drawn bishop and wrong rook's pawn. So I was defending it, and we got right to the point where I could put my king in front of the pawn, and I went and put it the wrong square, like right at the end. So.
Oh God, yeah. No, I mean the thing is it's becoming increasingly popular time control. These faster time controls. Actually, I think Magnus. One of the things he wanted to change about the World Championships was potentially to have 2 games a day.
Yeah.
And have a faster time control. So what we've been doing in English chess for years would become true in the World Championship as well. And the idea is that makes preparation less relevant.
Yeah.
Because you're having to think on your wits a lot. You're playing 2 relatively quick games. They're classical time control. But obviously FIDE didn't want that. They don't want 2 games a day. Yeah, I mean, there's an interesting point because Magnus is a very physically fit guy, right? So he's like, you need to play these kind of time controls. You need to be in great shape. Although I say that as you played Norwegian Masters last year, that was probably his worst tournament of the year, and that has that kind of fast time control where you get into when you get past time control, you don't get any extra time.
Yeah,
it should favour him, but he did very badly in that tournament.
And I actually wonder if also it's not just that he'd do better, but he just would find it more interesting. I just wonder if he gets bored with the very long games.
So Chris Baker says some strange results amongst the top players in round 1. Adams drawing, Agassi losing.
Agassi?
Gartzi, I think he means.
Oh,
Agassi was a tennis player.
Yeah. Did Mickey win in the end? He must have.
Yeah, he must have done that.
He was doing really well. Okay, we should probably wind up. So Amit won that in round 2.
Good.
Nick was a draw in the end.
Yeah.
And Adams won in the end. Hebs drew.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did we see Badonna? Did she win?
Well, I don't know.
Let's check that one.
It must have finished, right? Probably a draw, right?
Draw.
Yeah, draw, yeah.
Yes, cool. Okay, so this is the last game going on, and it's going to be it's mate in 22 actually. So a win for Tibiakov. Win for Tibiakov. Okay, fantastic. All right, so shall we? We'll wrap up there. Let's just do one more thing, which is look at the players. There we go.
Is that the game? Is that the Tibiakov going in the background?
I don't think so. Actually, must be one other game going on.
Is that the Rafe Martin game? No.
Oh, could be. Yeah.
No, it's not Rafe. Rafe Martin was playing somebody else, wasn't he? Who was he
Hebs,
playing?
wasn't he? So it's not that.
It's not that game. I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah. I could probably tell you actually. Is it Shabir Okay against Vivash Samara?
No, it's not Shabir.
No. Is it Christian Gloomer against Holger Blauhut?
That sounds correct because neither of these players I recognise.
Yes. All righty. Fine. So Rich has lost now. Sergey has won. Okay, brilliant. So it's been a very interesting round. Lots of good games we've seen there. Thank you, Danny, very much.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Natasha. And, if you ever want to do this again, let me know.
Will do. And there's more maybe later this tournament or maybe other tournaments.
Yeah, maybe later in the week. Yeah, sure.
Maybe later in the week.
It goes on till Friday.
Goes on till Saturday morning. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. So not every game. Not every day is one game a day.
Some days are one day. I think they alternate one game and 2 games.
Oh, okay, because I think last year it was every day was like 2 games. I think, or maybe I'm getting that wrong. But yeah, that's a nicer schedule.
So I think it's 1 round tomorrow, Yeah, 2 Wednesday, 1 Thursday, 2 Friday, and 1.
2 game, 2, then 1. Right. That makes sense. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you everyone very much for watching, and I'm back tomorrow with Matthew Sadler. So we'll hopefully catch you then.
I'll tune in. And, watch.
Lovely. Brilliant. Thanks a lot, Denny, and see everybody very soon. Thanks all for watching.
Cheers.